We're going to start out our meeting with an invocation and or thought and the leading of the Pledge of Allegiance by Council Member Neighbor. And then you're off the hook for this month.
Yes, I do now know that if you are on the hook for a whole month, so now I'm prepared today. So today I would like to share just a thought, and the thought for me is a I am very thankful, and I want to say thank you to a lot of people that have helped me. I'm the newest council member, and I want the mayor to know that he has been very helpful to me, and I now know the leadership that's needed to run a city. So good job on that. I want to thank the council members, uh, or Christina, JD, Chris, and Tara, because they helped me become a member, and they have been so supportive of helping me understand things. And wow, did I miscalculate the amount of time it takes to be on the council? But when I see them work hard, it inspires me. I also wanted to say thank you to John Call. He's not here with us today, but he is the most helpful person and extremely competent person at the same time. And I also want to thank all the financial and executive directors that I've met, and now I appreciate and value them. And I want to recognize Casey Hunsaker for being for being named the president's award for the Utah Association of Emergency Managers. Did I get that right? Close enough, Casey? And also complimenting him for passing the certification to become an emergency manager. And then when you think about, one of the safest cities in Utah, and also what the public works area did with Oak Lawn, pretty impressive. So with that thought, I want to thank everyone again, and I feel like I'm finally a member that's contributing to the council. So that makes me feel good too. So thank you for that, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Council Member Neighbor. Tonight, we're going to start off with a presentation by Falcon Moorhead on a pond enhancement proposal. So now's your time to come up to the microphone. We'll start him here and then we'll get him back to Ryan at the end.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm Falcon Moorhead, and this is my brother Titan Moorhead. And we would like to propose a city or a pond enhancement of the pond on the North Ogden Equestrian Park that's on Mountain Road at no cost to the city. And how we're going to do that, the plan is to take it in 3 phases. And the first phase would be just clearing out all the cattails and all the reeds that are kind of cluttering up the pond. And luckily, the green waste dump site is right next to it, so that'll be easy to put it away. And then the next phase would, oh yeah, and the next phase 2, we'd take some like barley and also the help from Spencer Stevens, which most of you guys know, I think. He's making this new product to help clean up ponds and make it less murky. And it's like, I don't exactly know what it is, but he's working on it. And we're going to use that and a bunch of different plants and also stock it with rosy red minnows and comet goldfish for some small game fishing off the bat. And then after a couple weeks, once everything's settled all in, then we're gonna add some bass, catfish, and sterile carp, and then we can help them grow. And also we're gonna have a aerator that's solar paneled and portable that we can take home with us every day, so we don't leave it out at night and risk it getting stolen or anything like that.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Falcon? Yeah, Councilmember Pulver.
So this is right, you said right by the green waste to the south, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the Equestrian Park and then it's off to the,
Yeah.
yeah. So do you guys live near there? Is that why?
Yeah. We're like not even like 2 blocks away. We're really
Okay.
close.
Because you're like going to be doing work and I'm like, is it gonna be like trying to get there and back and
No,
so
yeah, it'll be
this
easy.
is, I don't say a pet project because, everybody's got those, but so that's basically something for you guys to stay out of trouble. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I'm looking at them. Yeah, mom, dad's fine. So the, but this is awesome. I mean, this is one of the big things that I think, citizens that become involved, and have a passion about something. This is awesome. I mean, I think the only thing would be is to make sure that we're complying with any DNR things. I don't know if that's even something we got to worry about, but
That was a question. Have you looked into what the
Yeah.
Fish and Game require?
We have not yet, but we're willing to work with any like permits that we need to use or anything like that.
so I think the only thing is if it's a confined thing, then it's not so much of a big deal. But if it can jump to other things, I think that's where they start getting involved. But yeah, definitely something to work through. But yeah, I don't have any issues and would support any type of permit or something that you guys would need to do that.
Yeah.
So
Do the fish eat mosquito larvae?
Yes,
They
they
do.
do. That
Okay.
will be like it will help the environment out there a lot, and a lot of mosquitoes will already be
So,
getting eaten.
so you play baseball, you play football.
Yeah.
I play football too, but
All right. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. So is this both of your project then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Those are
also-
brothers. Okay.
3 of our friends that aren't here,
Oh, okay.
they'll also be helping us out because it'll be a
That-
lot of work.
That's good to know. that
Yeah.
It's a team effort, not
Yeah.
just a single effort.
Where did this idea come from?
Because there's like not very many good bass fishing places up here in like northern Utah. It's all trout. So I kind of just wanted some, and then, like also that's like smaller and not many people would go to. So yeah,
so what happens when you graduate and do that other stuff?
Yeah.
it should be self-sustaining.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and maybe we could add a permanent aerator too, like a solar paneled one, eventually.
Cool.
Mhm. So how are the finances on this project?
It should not be too expensive. Like I'm thinking like $500 or something like that.
Okay.
And with 4 people, that should be cheap to cover.
Okay. So you're being very honorable. You're going to finance that.
Yeah.
Then, huh?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay. I wonder, Dave, if this honorable deed, if we could help just a little bit.
Well, if they need to take stuff away or whatever, I think that's, I mean, if
The green waste is right there.
Yeah.
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 there.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
So Dave and I were talking before, you need to look with Fish and Game because there are some rules and regulations on having a public fishing pond. And that's the big thing is if it's a public pond, we heard, and I haven't validated this, everybody who fishes there has to have a license anyways.
Yeah.
And then there are rules on stocking ponds.
Yeah.
They have, and we can't just throw any type of fish in.
Mm-hmm.
But for mosquitoes, the mosquito abatement district actually will help stock those type of fish that'll kill mosquitoes.
Yeah.
I happen to know the person on that board, so I can help you get some.
All right.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes.
Yeah, I'm on board with it. I mean, especially as long as you check all the boxes and make sure that you're getting with the DNR and making sure that you're good on that side. It sounds awesome and sounds like it'd be something that can not only benefit yourselves, but maybe benefit some others in the community. So it'd be great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that you guys are taking the initiative and you're doing such a great job in your presentation. Everything that we've received, it's just very thorough and props to you. This is a great job. If your high school teachers knew about this, right? The bonus points. I mean,
Yeah.
it's summer, I guess, but I don't know if you want people to know, maybe this is like your secret fishing spot, but if you did, you might be able to put some word out to look for sponsors.
Yeah,
So that's an
that'd be cool.
option too, but I think it's a great idea what you're doing.
Thank you.
So Dave, do we have anything for them tonight?
No, the biggest thing is, and I can give you guys details of where they're talking at now. So it is a storm runoff pond. but it does not drain. So it's one of our interesting ponds where we actually have to take up a big pump and drain it out a couple times a year. And then it drains back into North Ogden Canyon's spring line. So, I mean, that water level would stay pretty consistent for the most part unless we get a huge rain and that gets to a point where we feel like we have to drain it or it will overflow into the arenas and stuff there. So,
Your equipment could handle it picking up the fish sometime if
well, that's the biggest thing, and that's something that they will have to check on with the DNR because the second that a fish could leave that pond and go somewhere else, there's a bunch of rules and those kind of things that would come into play. So if we did pump that, those fish would go with that pump to whatever stream we put them in. No, well, I mean, there's small filters, just depends on what kind of fish, so, that would be one thing. And like Mayor said, that they would have to follow up with the DNR and make sure that they're following all those rules. But besides that, I mean, it is there and, it'd be nice to have them help clean that up and
Yeah.
it's a cool spot, but.
Okay, so what do you need from us tonight? Follow, or I'd
yeah.
recommend go get with the DNR and see what they have to say and then let us know.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
thank
showing
you.
initiative.
That was awesome.
That's great.
Good job.
So does that mean they can start or what? Phase one?
I have no problem with them cleaning up.
Okay.
Does Dave do you have a problem with that if they want to clean it up?
No,
Yeah.
not with the cleanup part. It was just if they
Yeah,
could follow
before you
up.
can stock fish, you've got to get with the DNR.
But yeah, I think other than that,
Okay.
There's an email on the website, ccmm@northogdencity.gov, that will go to all of them, including the city manager. And so everybody that needs to be involved will be on that. And so when you guys do contact DNR or have any updates or questions, just email that and one of us will give you a response, okay?
Thank you. All right, moving on to our consent agenda. Call for conflicts of interest. Does anyone have anything they'd like to disclose tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to number 3. Approval of the meeting minutes for April 28th, 2026 and May 5th, 2026. And we have made the correction, or Ryan's made the correction already on the date. So just, does anyone have anything else that needs to be changed? If not, I'd be looking for a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Neighbor. Do we have a second?
second.
Councilmember Pulver, one with a second. Okay. Is there any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes have been approved. Our policy for cash receipting, this will be discussion and consideration of the updated cash receipting policy, and our presenter is Casey Hunsaker, our city treasurer.
Good evening, council. So this is the revised cash handling policy from the April 14th meeting that I came and we talked about then. So I just tried to implement some of the things that Councilmember Neighbor and Councilmember Pulver asked for in there. And then today, Councilmember Pulver sent an email discussing the approved locations, and so I changed the wording on it to what I had sent out. So there's not, I mean, if we, you're good. So after our last meeting, we discussed it and I got with some other city treasurers and we feel like the best route to go with the deposits is to let the city staff make the internal controls on the necessary steps to take and keep those private for security reasons. So that's what we're gonna do there. And then we added the impressed fund, the petty cash funds section to the policy, just stating that it'll be monitored and randomly audited throughout the year. And typically I try to do that at least once a quarter, and I always try to have it done usually in the month of June, just for the fiscal year end. So on the petty cash, and then
Very nice job on the petty cash, by the way.
thank you. And then, like I said, the cash receipting, I did change number 1 on cash receipting, and so now it reads: the city treasurer shall approve and designate locations for transactions to take place. This shall include designated city-owned properties and state-approved depositories that the city conducts business with. Does that meet your needs?
Yeah, just because I didn't know what approved and disapproved.
I-
means were.
And after you said that, I went and looked at it. And I was like, yeah, that's very vague. So I took that and I just tried to rewrite it. And so those were the biggest ones. And then, like I said, this is something that I want to bring back annually just to make sure that we're keeping it fresh on our minds. And so the staff, with the turnover that happens often, is mindful of how cash should be handled. So those are the changes that I made to the policy from the last meeting. And so I would just recommend adopting it now and accepting it now, and we'll move forward until next year.
Okay, does anyone have a question for Casey? And just remember that this policy doesn't deal with the internal controls that we have for security reasons as well. So
Yep.
there's other stuff still that we're not advertising. Councilmember Dalpaz was first.
I just had to comment on your shirt. I love your shirt.
Thank you.
That's it.
I didn't realize I was wearing it. I try to wear the more subtle ones.
It's perfect.
Sorry.
Thanks for wearing it today.
Thank you.
Councilmember Pulver.
I forgot I was going to say now. No, just that for training, I guess that would be the question, because we have an awesome procedure. Is there like training requirements? Maybe I'm looking, it's Katie. Oh, Katie's over there. Is there a certain set of things that certain people, department heads or whoever, that need the training? You know, it's like a checkbox or something that they have a yearly training or something that happens, or okay. Sorry, making it come up.
Yes, so we go over code of conduct, ethics, and all that every year. So that will be part of that training as well.
Okay, yeah, because we have an awesome procedure, but if nobody knows it's there, I've had that in my job too, is that we had this awesome procedure and nobody's following it because nobody knew about it. Anyway, okay, awesome, thanks.
And then I follow up with all those who handle I follow up with them regularly, and I pretty regularly randomly just count the tills in like City Hall and stuff, just when I'm passing by, just to make sure that they're still on. So those are all being followed. Those random audits are all happening as well.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no other questions for Casey, are we looking for a motion or not? Do we need a motion on this?
Yeah.
Okay, motion to accept the cash receipting policy.
So moved, and making sure that we fix that one sentence, but yeah.
And I've sent the updated policy to Ryan as well.
Okay.
So, and Dave and John, and I think all of you actually. So
Motion stands.
Okay, so we got a motion by Councilmember Pulver. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Neighbor. Any further discussion? Voice vote or roll call? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
thank you,
We've
Council.
approved your-
Thanks again.
Good job, Casey. Okay, I'll be looking for a motion now to recess the public meeting and reconvene as an redevelopment agency.
So moved.
And we have a motion by Councilmember Dalpaz. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Watson. Okay, so now we are all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are now in the redevelopment agency meeting. And we're going to talk about the RDA grant amendment for Big O tires and lock it up storage, discussion and consideration of amendments to the original RDA grant award. Presenter is going to be Scott Hess, our Community and Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the RDA board. We do have two small requests or amendments that weren't specified specifically in the contracts for two of our awardees. That's Big O Tires and Lock It Up Storage. They'd like to make sure that these projects are successful, get the RDA money spent, and amend slightly. For Big O Tires, they're looking at some additional exterior building modifications, correcting drainage and asphalt damage, and considering secondary water improvements. And then for Lock It Up storage, they've been working on the Coldwater Creek Trail from Washington Boulevard down 1900 North. And they will be looking at doing enhanced landscaping on 2000 North as part of the project. They weren't able to get their commercial building on the corner of 1900 North and Washington Boulevard started this year, but we would like to see those RDA funds used for betterments on 2000 North as well as along the trail on 1900 North. With that, staff is actually proposing these, or staff is recommending these as an RDA consent agenda item. Happy to take any questions, but it's essentially staff's recommendation. And if the RDA board is comfortable with that, we'll move forward with administering the grant that way.
Okay, any questions for Scott? Yeah, Councilmember Neighbor.
Scott, on the Lock It Up storage request, I don't see any dollar amounts. Just out of curiosity, what was the original award? What was the unused amount, and how would they want to, how much, each one of their items, how much cost is that associated?
Okay, let me
with
pull up my
those?
spreadsheet. Sorry, hold on 1 minute. So I don't have the exact dollar amounts. Lock It Up storage was allocated the full $150,000, so they would need to spend $300,000. The significant portion of that will be the 8-foot wide asphalt trail from 1900 Northwest until the trail terminates because Coldwater Creek gets so narrow.
Mhm.
So that's the majority of it. And then the additional portion would be enhanced landscaping on their storage unit piece at 2000 North. That would be a smaller percentage of it. It's not that we're moving the majority of the money over to 2000 North, but it will bring better landscaping, better street design. But I don't have the exact breakdown between the two.
Do you know how much money is unspent at this point?
All of it. So they are on,
Oh.
they're currently out there. We have met on site with Public Works,
Okay.
planning, building.
I must have missed that point.
No,
looking
you're-
for the dollars and cents. I'm sorry.
No, so this one, they haven't spent any money yet. They are currently doing an Army Corps of Engineer Coldwater Creek water, help me, Dave, with the encroachment permit. So they're just close enough to Coldwater Creek that they needed to get that encroachment permit. And that process has been going on for a while. They have a contractor ready, they're shovel ready as soon as the Army Corps says to go forward, and that trail will take just a few weeks to build, start to finish.
So tell us more about this encroachment. Are they impacting the location of the creek at all?
So no, they're not. But the way the encroachment permits work is they take the width of the Coldwater Creek. So say it's 10 feet wide, right? Anything on either side of it that's 10 feet, they have to get a permit for
Okay.
that. So they're not touching the creek. It's not affecting the creek. That's why we think the process will be a little faster with the Army Corps, but nothing goes real fast. with
So
the
the
Army Corps.
fence that they had in the packet written about, does the fence impact at all?
No, so the fence is a replacement of the existing fence. So right now on the north side of Coldwater Creek, you have an old chain link fence, and they'd like to convert that to a nicer looking wrought iron fence. So that would be one of the improvements and betterments for the RDA funds. But
So-
that would not impact the creek because it's a replacement of an existing improvement.
So the Army Corps is going to be sure that this fence and whatever machinery they need to get in there and do that are not going to touch any part of the creek or impact it. Okay.
And if you remember back, the property owner trimmed a significant number of
Mhm.
trees, bushes, things on their north side of the creek that they owned, and that raised a lot of concern in the neighborhood because it looked like a city project, but they're able to do considerable amount of landscape maintenance on that north side, including their fencing
Yeah.
and improvements to their fencing.
Great. Thank you.
Just a question. So not a penny of it has been spent on this particular project. So just out of curiosity, is the time frame is expired for them to have this completed technically?
No, there's not technically in the contracts, there wasn't an end date for the expiration. The
Okay.
RDA closed out December 31st of 2024, and the
Okay.
projects have been extended from that point. So we've been talking internally about what budget year or when to expire those grants.
Okay,
There's some risk out there with having the RDA monies
yeah.
sitting and floating.
So if they didn't finish it
Mhm.
by whatever time frame you're going to indicate, that money goes back into a surplus for TIF.
Yep, there's a few different options. One would be you roll it into the CDA. So that would then make
Okay.
it's still tax money that was received by businesses for improvements, but it would be eligible only for CDA. Or the other option would be an RDA eligible project, like a Public Works Capital Parks project, where you would end up with a receiving fund. And that would be for
Okay.
finance director, council,
Yeah.
others in the budgeting process.
Yeah. On the Big O project, there was a weird comment on engineering fees that were likely not, what was the word? That they were unlikely to be reimbursed, but they're asking them to be reimbursed.
Yeah, so anything that's spent before the grant allocation, we're
Oh.
unlikely to reimburse. And that's standard with all grants, whether that's local, state, federal grants.
Mhm.
Money that you've spent up to the time of award of the grant is essentially at your risk. So that was a comment to just say that any reimbursement receipts that we received that were prior to December 10, 2024 are unlikely to be eligible for reimbursement.
Is it the staff's recommendation to reimburse them for okay, I misunderstood that then.
And Big O have spent about a third of their allocated awards. So
Okay.
they've been moving forward in earnest. They've got a major UDOT road, they've got asphalt to move, stormwater challenges. So this would be a pivot to allow them to spend the money, create a good project, be successful for the RDA, but not stay stuck in that one particular project that they had
Yeah.
created.
And yeah, Councilmember Dowpats.
So I would say I'm supportive to move forward on these pivots for each of these companies. It sounds like it will help them burn down the money quicker and be able to get it off our books, because I don't love that the money is sitting on our books still. It'll be good to get it spent and we can clear out those funds and move forward. So it seems like what's been proposed is reasonable when I read through everything.
Before we make a final decision, we do have Jason Westbrook with Big O, if we'd like to hear from him. If you'd like to make some comments or.
If you'd like.
Yeah.
Mayor, City Council members, I appreciate your time. My name is Jason Westbrook, for the two of you that don't know me, and maybe you do. I'm a resident in North Ogden. I also own the Big O Tires in North Ogden. This all started in January of 24, trying to get my parking lot to expand. I've actively been working on trying to get the parking lot expanded. When the RDA first came out, I actually had it applied and sent in April of 24. Then I put in my second one in June of 24. It wasn't until December until we voted on it. And I turned in my first receipt on April of 25, and we hadn't even signed on the contract yet. So I got pushed back on that. We finally got the contract signed in May. In the contract, it says that these funds are eligible until the project is complete. Since then, most of you guys know that it took till June to get a city approval on everything and get everything hammered out there. Well, then after that, I found out that I needed approval from UDOT because of now doing the 10-foot sidewalk. I have to have UDOT approval. Well, then UDOT wants to shut down your approach and everything else because it's on Washington. They don't want you to have an approach there. So that took me until January 13th till I finally got approval on that. I sent an email out to city staff to see if our busy time is generally May to December, middle of January. We slow down for spring, so I would like to do it in spring. Well, obviously, with me getting the approval in January, there's no way that I can do that in spring. I can't go out and shop a contractor, get all the bids, get everything done and completed in that time. When I got told that the first email that I got back was telling me, I want the money spent by June 30th. I want these funds off the books. Then after pleading again, I got another email saying, well, most likely the city auditor or the state auditor is going to be taking the money away. I've never seen anything saying that the state auditor wants this money back. All I have is the contract that was signed by me and Mayor Berube that says that these funds are available until the project's complete, unless I do something to violate the contract. And I have not done anything to violate the contract. I have been trying for 2.5 years to get this passed. And it has taken me until January. And then when I got that and I got told that, it just discouraged me. I mean, it just set me back because this whole thing was about trying to plan for the future and increase my parking. And now I'm going to try and do some other things to pivot, but I'm not going to be able to do what I originally set out to do. The big thing is on this, when it was approved with Planning Commission, it came back to where I had to do the 10-foot sidewalk. I have to do the light. Well, just in the $67,000 that's left, that's going to take quite a bit of that 67 to put in a 10-foot sidewalk on my frontage and to do that. So that if I don't have that, then the site plan's off the board. There's no way I can even do it with having to do a 10-foot sidewalk and put in a lamp. The other thing that I'm kind of upset about is when they first put the lamps in down Washington, those lamps were already supposed to be put in all the way down to 1700. On the east side of the street, they're put in all the way down to 1700. On our side, they stopped on the north side of the approach. They didn't keep going down the rest of the way to 1700. So now I have to pay for a street light that was already supposed to have been there. But there's just no way that I can do this. And as far as with the site plan, the survey and everything else, trying to recoup some of that money, I'm $19,000 into that I feel like I've thrown away, chasing my tail. And yeah, when I first submitted on the RDA funds, it was in June of 24. When I first had my first survey, it was June of 24. I'm not asking for anything outrageous here. I would like to, I proposed to them, I was like, I would like to have this and be able to start it in spring of 27, because I was never told a timeline. I was never told that I had to have it done in a certain amount of time. So I figured, if I do it next year, if they know that it's taken so long to get everything approved, that it wouldn't be an issue. But I cannot do it during my busy time and shut down my parking lot. That affects my business to where I'm not going to be in business. And it has a negative impact on the city also. I mean, this is something that we've tried and tried and tried. I've tried working back and forth. I hope you guys know this isn't anything against any of you guys. This isn't against anything with staffing. I'm fighting for my business. I'm fighting for the 20 families that work for me. Ultimately out of this, I don't care about the stuff that I put out there now. I mean, yeah, if I have to do that, that's what I'll do. But I would still like to have this for next year to be able to actually try and get that project done. One other thing that has been fallen into it, I put in there about trying to get hooked into secondary, because that was part of the site plan, is I had to get hooked into secondary. So I had the will serve letter, everything from Pineview. I started checking with that. Well, now I found out that we don't have any water rights, and we have to have water rights to get any of that, and go out and try buying water rights right now. They are not being sold. I've been given 3 people's names and numbers. They won't even return my calls. So I mean, the site plan might be dead in the water for that, or I might have to go back before Planning Commission and say, hey, look, I cannot get secondary. We're already hooked up on culinary. It's been hooked up on culinary. That was our only option when we first bought. When we first bought, we actually there was 5 wells that North Ogden City tried capping. They were able to cap 4 of them. 1 of them they abandoned, and they took those water rights then when they capped them off, because they had the expense of capping them. And I understand that, But I didn't realize that we didn't have any water shares at all on our property. And at the time, we weren't anywhere near secondary water. Now, since everything's expanded, now we are. But yeah, I need water shares. And so I even asked if I could transfer some from my property. I have property in Huntsville. They told me, no, it's got to be in the same city. So it's like, so I would still like to stay with the original project. And if we can have the funds available until next fiscal year, that'd be great. If it's something to where I have to spend them this year, I'll do what I can, but I'm just tired of fighting. I mean, I've been fighting this for 2.5 years and I'm just tired of fighting.
All right, any questions for Jason? Yeah, go ahead.
So, and I feel your pain because I've listened to some of those meetings too. Can't, and this is not directed to you, but is there a hustle to use this money? I haven't seen a hustle and I haven't heard. And I guess the question is, the whole point of what his project was to increase parking, get cars off the street. And if we don't do that with the RDA Mini, I don't see why. Not to say this isn't being mean. It's like, what's the point? I think that's kind of what you're saying is like, this was the whole point, was to get all this stuff done and enhance the business as opposed to making something, anyway, I don't know why we can't. I guess that's my question.
Heard Scott say there's no deadline on these.
Well, Peter looked into the state code and there are ultimate deadlines for how long it takes for an RDA to sunset, but the RDA has sunset the end of 2024. And I'll say what I understand, not speak for John, but as city attorney, he sees risk in continuing to have unspent RDA funds from a sunset RDA and kind of not being utilized moving forward.
Well, can I ask a question on that? How can the RDA funds sunset at the end of 24 when it wasn't even brought before city council until December 10th of 24?
Yeah. Hold your thought. We're getting there.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I just want to make because I think we're there and I think this has to be done. I don't see the point of making something up, having him trying to come up with something to use the money when it's not what we wanted. So I propose that we allow Mr. Westbrook to finish what he started in 24 and all of it. I mean, because we've to be perfectly honest, I want to say we've strung him along, and I hate this. And there's certain things, there's certain aspects of it that he's just trying to do the right thing, and he's trying to do the right things for 3 years almost now. And we're hammering him because of it, and I think that's wrong. And so I just want to put it on the record that I propose that we let him do what he needs to in a certain amount of time, give you a deadline, not September, but next June. And if not, then what's the point of having a contract anyway? I think I've said my piece, but that's what I'm talking about there. And so, and I do have lock it up question, but we'll finish this first.
What was your total award that was provided?
It was 100,000.
100,000.
And I've spent 33 on exterior improvements, and then I was saving the rest for the parking lot.
Yeah. And you're okay not getting your request on the engineering fees. You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
If we can get it extended, that's what I'm ultimately looking for.
Okay.
Because that's what I originally asked for in January. And if I would have been told yes in January, guess what? I'd be further along by now because I would have kept on going. But since then, I've had a few things happen. So
just confirming the engineering fees.
Okay.
You're okay with that, yeah.
So go ahead. You're up.
I feel like we spent quite a bit of time studying the proposals, the applications, and the purpose of them. And, we had rubrics weighted depending on how it would impact our economic impact. And I feel like the parking lot would really be the best for the economic impact. If we're paying for light poles and for secondary water, that's great for one business, but I think we need to look out for the city, and the best economic development impact would be that parking lot. I also was just hoping that if we do decide to throw a deadline out, that it could be so far in advance enough that it doesn't catch anyone off guard.
I'm okay with extending it out. It sounds like, as per John Call, there might be some potential risk to losing the money. So I guess if we were to move forward and say that you had until mid 2027 or the end of 2027, whatever we decide, I guess I just want to make it very clear that we don't know for sure that there might be something that happens that the funding is not available. And so that's my only concern is I'm good with you pushing it out and I think it would be great. And just to be clear, the city staff has been working this for months, years. The city council hasn't, heard regular updates on this. So this is the first I'm hearing about it for a very long time. So I just want to just express to you, I appreciate the frustration that you have and I can hear it. And I'm with Councilman Pulver that we've been through a lot of meetings and a lot of stress. This might be bad on me reading through the agenda. I kind of thought it was somewhat you that was proposing to get this done quickly. And so I was supportive of that because I kind of probably misread that. But as long as it's very clear to yourself that there is this, I don't know what the percentage chance that the funding could be pulled because of some state requirement or something, I'm good with it going into the future. Does that sit well with you? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
John's not here either to speak to it, but it sounds like we've been given a little bit of a warning that the funds might be in jeopardy. And so last thing I would want is for you to come at the beginning of 2027 if we're somehow notified by some state agency that the money has to be taken. That's the thing that would concern me the most about pushing it out.
Yeah. And that was the thing where, if it was clear in my contract, it would be nice. But in my contract, it just says it's available until until the project's complete. And I've been working towards getting that project complete. It's not like I've just been sitting back on my hands, not doing anything. I've been trying to get that project completed. So, I mean, where it says that it's until its project's complete, yeah, I obviously couldn't get it done by June 30th from January. There was absolutely no way I could do that project in that time. So if we can push, but then, like I says, the other big thing is whether I can get water shares or if I need to go back to city planning and see if I can get that taken as part of my, what my requirement to get meet the site plan. Cause I can't find them right now.
So without speaking too rough about the state auditor has not given us good rules or good guidance one way or the other. We're just notified that there may be a possibility that we may lose this funds. They haven't told us either. So we're that's why our staff's playing the way they are, or giving you the guidance that they have is because we don't know for sure.
So is there a way that we could do milestones instead of just an all-in-one? Is that something that we can debate too?
Well,
Because
the other thought I had was, could we approve the amendments and keep working with the state to find out for sure? Because if we approve the amendments, we're not changing, or no?
If you approve the amendments, what you're doing is you're just opening up, the grant can be spent on everything existing to
Plus-
include the site plan was approved last July, so July of 2025. And then it could be for these additional items. So say the stormwater along UDOT's right of way was not able to be figured out or was cost prohibitive, they could pivot to this other portion. But without the council as RDA, or rather, if the RDA board doesn't approve the amendment, then they're locked into what they were originally awarded.
Yeah, and that was my thought, is if we approve the amendments, we can still work towards the original, but if we find out that
Then he
funds aren't
can,
gonna be there, you still have
could
time
do a
to
pivot.
pivot quickly.
If we could do that, that'd be great. I mean, the big thing is I do have a leaking well on that north approach on the west side. And that was going to be part of, basically to do that, we were going to tear up that whole side of the parking lot and do a French drain across it to try and drain, because there's actually supposedly two. The well driller says two. I can't find the other one on a state well map. So ultimately we were going to tear that apart, do a French drain. So it's like, well, if I'm going to do that, should try and get the parking lot too. And so the big thing is if I can't get secondary, if I can't get planning commission to sign off without secondary, then I can pivot and at least fix that well that's leaking on the one side. And I mean, I would like to do some of the site plan, but obviously I can't do some of the site plan without doing all of the site plan. I had put in there on the awnings, which that was just something that's like, okay, well, yeah, it's an aesthetic, but I didn't expect them to come back with the price that they came back on. And so I'd like to shop that because I was like, wow, that is not even close. So, I mean, there's just no time. So, I mean, I have till June 30th now, and it's like, okay, what do I do in that 1 month?
We don't have a deadline right now, do we?
I was told June 30th. I was told till the end of the fiscal year.
So we sent that out at the beginning of the year. We wanted to see all of the RDA funds spent in this fiscal year and not roll them into the 2026, 2027 fiscal year, which right now they're not identified in the budget. So there isn't a receiving area for any additional funds. There would need to be a fund set up for that, or put these in the 26, 27 FY budget as continuation of the RDA grants.
This is disappointing to me. I don't know, is this still a conversation or can I talk to the council? Yeah. I feel like when we approved this money, it was for economic development. And so when Lock It Up was going to increase their ability to provide services for our area, they were adding a new building. And Big O Tires was adding a new parking lot to increase their capability. And both of those things would grow our economic development. If they're in a race to spend the money, they're going to be putting plants on 2000 and they're going to be putting awnings up. And that's just not what the money was for. So I'm frustrated with this. I don't know what the answer is or if we deny this, but this wasn't the intention.
Yeah, so can we propose that we
Well,
extend it, or
Do we have any other
Go ahead.
questions for Jason?
no? I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay,
for
yep.
putting up
Thank
with
you.
us.
Thank you for your guys' time.
Thank you.
All right, now we can have discussion amongst council. And we can have Scott Lil Wayne if we have questions for him too.
I think if we have either milestone payment or something that says this is what's going to happen at these times from the individuals that are receiving RDA money or RDA funds, then we have a plan, and the auditor can't go, oh, well, you just don't know what you're doing. Then if you have a plan in place, then that should be enough to go, oh, okay. It's not like we're not doing anything, and I think that's the point. So, if we did, yeah,
So I used to work at the state auditor's office.
so it's your fault. Okay.
So when they interpret compliance, they interpret compliance. So, I mean, it's that simple, unfortunately.
But there is no sunset clause, meaning that you have to spend it in 3 days or 4 months or 10 years, right? I mean, it's have a plan in place to execute it so that you
Yeah.
can get it off your books.
And I think Scott said it on the head, there's a time frame.
Yep, and I guess I'm not the finance director.
Yeah.
And so Peter did some research into the state code. I don't know if you want to ask Peter Brown, finance director, to explain what he's found. And on the question of the 2024 sunsetting, typically when you allocate the money, it's spent, you've essentially put that towards a project. It's just now the time frame between that and completion of the project. But Peter, I mean, it's up to you as the RDA board, but I would defer to Peter.
We'll let Peter come and speak to us.
And Peter deserves a comment on his shirt. I like your shirt.
Other than it has a U on it.
No, that's probably the best part about
I'm
it.
actually BYU fan, but I like the color of this shirt, so I just,
Come on, just put some tape on it. Just put some blue tape on
I
it.
put it on and I was like, I really like this shirt. I like both schools. I went to BYU though. So I'm not an attorney, and this is legal research, but I've kind of pushed this on to John. I'm hoping we can sort of gel this a little bit. But my best understanding is that in terms of the RDA, we've got two different things that we're trying to determine. One is if we can sunset a project, and you can vote to do that at any time. But there's also the fact that the RDA needs to be essentially, I'm mangling the terms. it needs to be finalized or
Closed.
closed down.
Yeah.
But even if you close it down, which we need to do, projects, from my best understanding, there's still time to spend the money on projects you've determined. You've already decided you're going to spend it on that project. And so, and you've granted it, there's an opportunity there to continue to spend, but there's a 5-year sort of window that it has to be spent down. And then at a certain point, the state auditor's office would come to us and say, hey, we're getting close to that 5 years. We need to account for every dollar. If we can't determine that the project's been spent down or spent on an approved project, then they're going to want it to go to some sort of a housing type, where we'd have to move it into a housing type project, probably at the state level. We just turn it back over to them to put it into a housing fund.
Yeah.
That's my best understanding.
When does the 5 years start?
That's a good question. So I believe the RDA itself was supposed to have been closed down.
December 31, 2024.
Yeah, December 2024. Regardless of when the council decides to finalize your RDA and shut it down, essentially as a board, and say it's next month, I think the best sort of way to look at it is what the state says we should have shut it down. The state's saying we should have closed it December of 2024. We don't close it until June 2025. I'd look at that December 2024 timeframe as when that sort of grace period sort of kicks off.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. That's our best understanding.
Scott, is there, and I don't know that, so I wasn't part of this discussion when we did the RDA. Do we have another one active right now?
Another grant?
Is there any other money that's available?
We have CDA money, but the rules on expenditure between RDA and CDA are vastly different. So RDA is fairly open. It can pay for things like landscaping, sidewalk trails, awnings, but the CDA is much tighter in what it can spend.
Is there a way to shut down the RDA, this piece, and then get a new project, a CDA project, or is that not even possible?
It would roll, it's complicated. Honestly, because the CDA
Different
is,
area too. isn't
yeah,
it?
they're different areas.
A
So they're
map
different
area.
geographic areas, different parcel IDs. So the businesses that have been contributing through sales tax
Yeah, it wouldn't
increment
be in there.
are different. So you could roll money into the CDA. You could roll unused funds into the Olene Walker Housing Fund. There's a few options, but if it went to CDA, we'd have to have a pinpointed project to allocate it to that would be eligible under the CDA rules.
So could you shut down the RDA and then use other monies that are available that are not allocated to finish this off?
We don't have any. I mean, that would be a general fund question. Like we don't, as far as right now, we don't have any other capital projects directly identified as economic development dollars.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just to go on top of what he said, financially speaking, it's allowable, but you have to still determine the project viability, the project allowability. You might have to go back to scratch and redo an entire project and try to determine its allowability under the CDA. So that's why he's saying it's complicated.
Yeah, but it's a possibility.
If it was apples for apples, that would be really
be the
easy to
strategy.
determine. So,
And my understanding, the CDA falls within the RDA, but the RDA does not all fall within the CDA. It's a lot smaller area.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think
It would qualify.
Big O is not in the CDA
Yeah.
area.
Probably wouldn't qualify.
Okay, council, what would we like to do tonight? Do we want to approve these amendments? Listening to Peter, we might have time for another year. I mean, up to 5 years, but it's up to you to decide what.
So-
Or I mean, not council, RDA board, sorry.
If we were to table it, then we lose 2 weeks. If we have the June deadline, then that's, I don't know, a little bit risky. But if we had another year or 2 or 5, whatever it is, then it might be worth tabling it and figuring out what the requirements really are. Because I would love to see that parking lot expanded, my opinion.
I liked where Mayor Barker was going at the beginning, is that we just move forward with these amendments as they show. Big O is not required to do those amendments in this next month, where they're really trying to figure out how they're going to do this. It gives them the option to go with this amended way, because I'd rather not potentially lose the money. We might get news in a week that the state auditor says, yeah, we're going to take a closer look at that or something, you know. So if it's possible, it'd be great to just do the amendments that are in place in the packet today, with the understanding that he's working towards getting it done by, say, June of 2027 or December of, probably June of 2027, to make it easiest on the books.
Yeah.
But
So,
he
but
could
can-
just hurry and spend the money on awnings and not do the parking lot.
But we don't expect him to do that. I think it's pretty obvious that he's not gonna run out and spend money on awnings.
Yeah.
He wants to do the original work that was in the project. So yes, there's technically a risk that he would go out and spend money on the awnings, but if we table this discussion to 2 weeks from now or whenever, it's going to make this much harder on us. We got to just figure it out now. Please, let's not table this, because it will just be a problem for 2 weeks or three weeks down the road. So I don't know how we want to say it into the motion, but something along the lines of accepting the amendments as they have been presented by staff, with the understanding that Big O, and do we have a representative from Lock It Up at all? Okay. So same thing would go for Lock It Up. They would be given the right to do the amendments, but we could have the conversation with them like, hey, if you want to move forward with your original project, we might be able to do that. I don't think either of them are that bad of options.
Diego is asking for the exterior building modification. I'm hearing him not saying that, but
Well, if he needs to have it done by the end of the month, that's what he's saying. That's all he can do.
Scott, do you
Our
have
point is
yeah,
is that we need to expand it. No.
Do you have a sense for what Lock It Up, what they were thinking? Did they want to get this all spent this year? Was this what they really wanted to do, is get this done quickly, or did they want to push it out? Is it easy or hard to say?
They would have been done by June 30. They wanted to be done. We met on site with their contractor and walked the entire project, and they were ready to dig. It was just proximity of the creek. If you've gone along 1900, Coldwater Creek gets close to the back of curb. So putting a 10-foot or an 8-foot trail in there, they will certainly be within that effective area. So but they're ready to move immediately.
Then the other piece to this is, if we approve the staff amended project for this RDA project for both of them, it gives Lock It Up the ability to just move forward and do things as they were planning on doing before the end of June. And then it gives Big O a little bit more time to figure out how they'd like to move forward. I think we can speak it in. I don't want to do that motion, but I think
follow the original
yeah.
motion and just approve the amendments. The option for the original.
Yeah, we don't really have to.
No,
it
don't.
doesn't seem like we necessarily need to speak the other things into a motion.
But I think we definitely need to make it known to staff that I do not want the limitation of time to be taken into account. I want
Until
them to
we're
do
told from
their
the
main,
state.
their main project. If we have a plan and we have an allocation for the money, they can't take it away. I mean, that's
They can't deny our tax increase either. The state does what they want.
That's
I'm gonna
true.
get in trouble.
But I'm looking through the RDA thing. I don't see anything in here where anything sunsets within a certain period of time. So we signed up to something that, anyway, I get what you're saying, but I think at the same point, the whole point of the RDA was to increase our tax base.
Yeah.
And if we're not doing that by making a trail, okay, awnings on a building ain't going to do it either.
Yeah.
So parking lots and building improvements, I think, are the thing that's going to be the main thing. I mean, sure, it does say in here street lights and signs, but okay, we're making a point that we agreed to the thing, and like Councilmember Watson was saying, we racked and stacked these things based on economic impact. And if now we're changing things halfway downstream, I don't necessarily want those things. I'd stick to the plan.
Well, I think part of the reason that this is given us some grief is because it's the word amendment, right? If it were inclusions, that might be different because then you could do this and this. But an amendment makes
But we
it
didn't
sounds
approve
like
that to begin with. I think that's the whole point, is that if we racked and stacked certain projects based on the economic impact, now we're being asked to add these other things that I don't think provide any
wouldn't have scored
economic
high.
impact.
They wouldn't
Right.
have scored high if they had
Right.
been. Yeah.
Just stay with the original.
So to me, you stay with the original plan, extend it out, have a milestone payment or whatever you want to call it, but you stick with it.
Not to throw a wrinkle
yeah.
in this, but we made an amendment to the project across the street to change their project to the Ben Lomond CrossFit. So we have.
But that was it. That was an economic impact. That was a pretty tremendous one.
I'm just saying, we've
Yeah.
done amendments before.
Yeah, so I guess it's the amendment to the list. So in my mind,
Actually,
it's
an
like,
inclusion. You're
yeah,
adding
it is
stuff
an
to it.
inclusion. It's just called an amendment. Okay, sorry.
All right, so who wants to make a motion one way or the other?
I can make a motion and it can die if no one agrees. I move that we accept the RDA grant amendment as proposed by staff, with the understanding that Big O Tires has the option to look into extending out until June 2027. And well, that's good.
Okay, we have a motion by RDA board member Dalpaz. Is that your official title right now?
Sure.
Okay. Do we have a second? One more time. Do we have a second? Okay, motion dies by lack of second. Do we have a second or another motion that somebody would like to make?
I'll try one. Mayor, I motion that we accept the current amendments with the understanding that the original RDA plan stays in place and is extended to a reasonable amount of time that is acceptable to state auditors, and we have a plan in place such they can be completed in that time frame. Be it and so the original plan for both Lock It Up and correct, but the original plan is what is the focus.
He has a time frame.
His has no time frame. Mine has time frame.
So
That's the difference. His is
our city
wishy-washy on
reporter
the
would
timeline.
like you to clarify your motion because we're confused.
Make one that's really
I-
crystal clear, please.
Crystal clear. Okay.
Let me try.
If you
Okay,
I'll try.
council member
Hey,
neighbor's gonna try
I
one
can-
here.
You want to try
Well,
it?
if you want to, I think if you want to say June 2028, that's still an option. You're giving a lot of time. But that's not what I would recommend. But it seems like the problem with your motion, no offense,
Yeah.
is that it doesn't have, there is no end date. But I think that's what you want.
We're gonna give them 2 years. Speak with the microphone.
The reason for the amendments, the only reason for the amendments right now is that if in the next week, if somehow he
Give them
finds out
options.
from the state auditor that he needs to get it spent, he can do the new things that are in this new plan. That's the only reason that the amendments are being considered. Knowing that Lock It Up is good with getting theirs spent by the end of the year, and I do realize that that is a pivot on their project as well. I'm good with that. So
Can we make
Anyways.
a motion that says the amendments are only good if this money expires this fiscal year?
but I don't think we're gonna get a clear answer that the money is going to expire. We're getting a thumb in the wind
Just
from
gonna be
people.
tomorrow gone?
Councilman Neighbor, a little bit ago was kind of expressing a little bit of concern about the state auditor. I don't know it sounds like you have some experience, so I'm just factoring that in as well, that if we give an expiration date, it A, drives the project to get completed, and B, I forgot B, because I'm so confused.
Yep. I think the expiration date shows the state auditor that we have a plan to get done.
Right.
Which I think is what Councilmember Pulver was saying,
Yeah.
but I agree we need an expiration date. And staff would like an expiration date.
So if we said June of 2027,
Yeah, not 28.
Mr. Westbrook said that he wants to do it, that would give
That'd be
him a good time at the first of the year in the spring.
Yep.
And Lock It Up is ready to go now. So
Now,
He'd
now
have to make a new motion. His died.
just remember, a big piece to what Big O Tires was mentioning to us is their water rights.
Yep.
So there is this chance that he or the organization will come back to us and say, hey, I haven't been able to get these water rights. And so that is a concern as well. But this does cement in that it would be the end of 2027, either way that it needs to be completed. Fiscal year 2027. June 2027 is what I'm saying.
Somebody like to try another motion?
Seeing how I wasn't part of the original, I'll try. So I would make a motion that the Big O Tire RDA project stick to its original requirements and extend the completion date to June 30th of 2027.
So they don't need a motion for that because that's already their plan.
Their plan?
The-
So it's denying the amendments is what
You're
you're saying,
denying the
right?
amendments.
Yeah, so that's the motion is to deny. I'll make a motion. Do you want a different one?
Well, no. I was just saying your motion is to, basically deny the amendments.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
so we have a
second that.
motion to deny the amendments. No? Now they're denying all the amendments.
I'll second.
But we're extending the,
You just said you didn't say anything about Lock It Up.
Lock It Up. It's my understanding we could go with the staff's recommendation because they will
But
be
you have
done
to
by
approve
June
Lock It Up's
30th.
amendments.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
And I'm okay with,
But the point is that they're not, if you approve that, then they're just going to do whatever. They're not going to do the original thing.
well, I would say the originals for both then. I'm okay with that. I could adjust my amendments for both. And both would have completion, so we're not
Okay.
cheating anybody to June 30th of
Yep,
2027.
so starting over
Start over.
still. Yep.
Start over.
We still don't. Councilmember Watson, you wanted to try.
I would do something different. So
That's
everyone
fine.
Hate me because I'm gonna keep
That's
going,
all right.
digging, we'll keep digging. I make a motion that we approve the amendments if the deadline for this money is by this fiscal year in June of 2026. Otherwise, we hope that this money ends in 2027 and we don't approve the amendments.
You're sticking with their recommendation, the staff's
The,
recommendation.
the only way the amendments are good is if they need to spend the money by the end of 2026 of June, right?
So not to throw a wrench into your plans, but Big O is not going to do their parking lot till spring of 27. So what if the money sunsets in December of 26?
So I guess I'm not being
But
very clear.
We want a clear motion. Yeah. We're trying to get something clear.
You're
Chris, you know.
Do we?
You
We're
take-
looking for a motion to approve or deny the
Okay.
amendments.
Okay, here's one.
I think my original motion was clear.
Yeah, I'll try to be very
Um,
clear.
I would be glad to do it again, but I did not get a second.
Yeah,
But-
okay.
But go ahead.
So I deny the amendments, approve a lengthening of completion date till June of 2027 with the focus on the original RDA approved plan.
Okay, so we have a motion to deny
Second.
the amendments.
Did you get that? Because I'll second it or you'll.
Okay, a motion to deny the amendments until June of with the sunset of June of 27.
Focusing on the original RDA plan.
Well, right, because you've denied the amendments, so that's their plan.
Default, yeah.
By default, you're to the original plan. Right, that's just it. We don't know for sure, right,
Should just table it.
that's an option too. We could table it and come back until we have a city
More
attorney to give the
information.
clear-
Is there
I-
more
I-
information,
but,
information
this-
available when John is back or when we have a deadline from
I
someone?
don't, I firmly believe we will not There is no guarantee we're going to get the information back in a certain timeline. Does staff agree that it is possible, very possible, that we will not be able to get an answer within a couple weeks?
So there's no point to table.
So yes, I don't want to table this for that reason.
Scott, would you actually call the state auditors or you call the state auditors to get clarification? Is that what,
Doesn't that raise its own risk?
Oh,
Yeah.
without the information.
I
is
mean,
that what you're talking about?
Spotlight, yeah.
Keep it out of the
public
spotlight.
meeting as well.
You're gonna see-
Okay,
You have a
I-
motion on the
You're gonna see it
table
anyway.
to deny them amendments with the sunset of 2027, June of 27. Do we have a second? Oh, you seconded, Councilmember Watson. All right, any further discussion?
So does that, okay, if it does get denied or whatever, then is there progress payments that we can still provide to these individual people, or is it all or nothing?
Right now, the motion is that it's the original agreement, right?
Right.
Right,
but
Scott?
What I'm saying is, go ahead.
Yeah, so they would be able to lock it up storage. They can build the trail, they can do landscaping enhancements, they can do their fence, everything on the 1900 north side. I know from speaking to the property owner, they will not be constructing their commercial building on the corner of 1900 and Washington. It just isn't in, they would have to have site plan approval today, contractors ready in order to get a building up out of the ground by that time frame. So that's not going to happen. So their request was the balance of money, this small amount of money on the other side would be used to enhance landscaping on an approved project along 2000 North. And landscaping is an eligible RDA expense. We did it at North Ogden Plaza to do the xeriscaping. At Big O, they painted their building, they did new signage. So there have been exterior amendments to the existing building that if you drive past, it looks really nice, but there are people, you may or may not have noticed the enhancements outside of, for the property owner, it was a really good incentive for them to bring it up to the current franchise agreement. So all staff was wondering is if the RDA board would be open to expanding the allocation of these funds for these two particular projects to include, in addition to their original project, these items. And we wanted to leave it time independent because I think that the RDA could say, you can have until January of 2030 to spend the money, and the state auditor might come back and say, nope, you should have spent it by yesterday. So I don't know. From staff standpoint, you can set a deadline if you want a hard date. Like this is the end all be all date, but otherwise we were going to leave it up to what the rules and regulations from the state auditor would tell us.
So
And just a reminder, lock it up self-storage, it will not produce hardly any sales tax. They will have a small little office and they will sell locks, they'll sell some boxes and tape and stuff like that. So it will be a small economic driver. But I think when we approved it in the original state that it was always going to be just an office, and it was going to be more, it's beautify the area because it's not an empty lot and looks like a nice place. So just throwing that in there.
So I withdraw my motion. Can I do that? Okay, and
Ryan
she's gonna
said
have
yes.
a migraine coming in there right now.
Oh,
So
coming, yep.
it's coming.
Okay. So now we have no motion. So now we need a motion.
Mayor, I motion that we approve the amendments based on what staff has noted today in this meeting, such that there is no sunset, but the plan is in place.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the amendments. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Ryan's still shaking her head.
Says motion to approve amendments to the original grant award. We could read that and it would work too.
Correct.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second? Do we have a second?
I just didn't hear an end date. And I think,
Wasn't an end date.
yeah,
That's what the staff just said, that they want to keep it.
Okay, motion dies for lack of second.
I tried.
I know.
Yes, if you have something to share, please get back
help
up.
us.
Please do. Yeah.
I'm on the state code. The term is called dormancy period. And it's 5 years after May 7th, 2024, or May 4th. Sorry. It's in May of 2024, or when the project gets dissolved. We're not dissolving the project. So the deadline, according to my reading of the state code here, is that it has a period, they call it the dormancy period, where it just sits and they have that opportunity to finish that project for 5 years. That's my best understanding. Again, not being an attorney, not understanding the legality. I'm just trying to make sure your terms are correct. The term is called the dormancy period. So that would be probably helpful.
City Manager Dave.
Correct. And I think that's what me and John seen as well, but there was that piece that the auditor could come in and say something different. And that's why we were trying to get these projects completed as quickly as possible. And so extending those things out, I mean, just like Scott said, that if we extend those out, we can have that on our books saying that we extended them out. But if the auditor says something different, then that money could go away. And
Yeah,
so,
I wanna allow the amendments, and I want the end date to be June 2027. And worst case scenario, if we get more knowledge down the road and we find out we are good, we can bring it back and we can extend that date to June 2028 or
Okay.
June
So
2029.
would you like to make another
So
motion?
yeah, well, my original motion. So I can say, I'll say it again.
Sure.
So I move that we accept the RDA grant amendments for Big O Tires and Lock It Up Storage as presented by staff, and with a expiration date on using the funds as June 2027.
Okay.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second by Councilmember Carney. Any further discussion?
So does that, in that time frame between now and June 2027, we can extend it again,
Yes.
technically? Okay.
With another official amendment.
Another official
But you don't have to.
Mr.
extend it again.
Dalpaz's. Anyway.
But this is, I mean, it
Sounds
would be
logical.
great to have a strong goal to have it completed by June of 2027 anyways, because it helps us all to keep
Move on.
finances
Keep working
organized.
something. Yep. Okay. Any further discussion? This will be a roll call vote and we'll start at Councilmember Watson and work our way down. Board Member Watson. Sorry.
No.
Okay, that one, no. Board Member Dalpaz.
Yes.
Board Member Pulver.
Yes.
Board Member Neighbor.
No.
Board Member Carney.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes 3-2. I'll be looking now for a motion to close the RDA redevelopment agency meeting and reconvene the public meeting.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by a board member, or is it council member now? Watson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Pulver. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're back in the public meeting.
Back to reality.
And after all of that, now we're on to our active agenda for public comment. So now is the time to, if you survived through all that, to come to the microphone and make a comment, state whether you're a resident of North Ogden, and keep your comments to 5 minutes or less.
Thank you.
And Dave, will you watch online to see if anyone would like to make a comment? Okay, not seeing anyone. Moving on. Item number 7 is our personnel policy with the Utah Retirement Systems Service Credit Buyout. Discussion and consideration of a proposed employer-paid Utah Retirement System Service Credit Buyout provision for eligible North Ogden City employees as part of retirement or separation agreements. And our presenter is Katie Gerard, our Human Resource Director.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And I'm going to be honest, my brain is like this right now. And I had prepared like feeling calm, and I'm not feeling like that right now. So please bear
We're
with me.
glad to be a calming influence to you.
Well, we were heading that way. So The proposed provision that we're talking about would allow city to consider employer paid URS service credit buyouts as part of a retirement or a separation agreement for eligible employees. The goal is to support workforce transition planning, succession planning, and the city's overall budgeting process. So the proposal would include a city contribution of up to $20,000 toward eligible URS service credit purchases. Excuse me. To qualify for this, an employee would need to be within 5 years of URS retirement eligibility and have at least 25 years of service with North Ogden City. Employees would be responsible for initiating the process with URS, obtaining the official cost calculation, and completing all required documentation. Any amount above the approved city contribution would remain the employee's responsibility at that time. This process is intended to support the city's budget and staffing planning. Guidelines would require employees to notify the city of their intent to retire during the budget cycle and retire within an established timeframe. This advance notice helps the city prepare for staffing transitions, recruitment, training, and related budget impacts. The provision would remain subject to URS approval, budget availability, and final approval by the mayor and city council. It would also include language related to timing requirements, tax liability, and confidentiality. So the council has the option to approve the proposed provision as presented, modify the contribution amount or eligibility requirements, or decline the proposal altogether. Staff recommends council consideration of the proposed URS service credit buyout provision as a workforce transition and retirement planning tool subject to budget availability and governing body approval. Any questions?
Okay, any questions for Katie? Yeah, Councilmember Pulver.
So, they have to, you said, was there a certain time frame? I was trying to find the exact.
25 years.
No, I mean, when they have to say, hey, I'm going to retire during the budgeting cycle, but is there like, if you don't give it to us by February, then you can't retire till next year? I mean, is there something?
So the idea would be basically to benefit the city and the employee together. It would be nice if we had notice ahead of time with the budget cycle, just so that we could prepare that in budget planning, and also to give the employee. So URS usually takes about 3 to 4 months for an employee once they say that they want to retire for that actually to happen. So ideally June would be nice, maybe even May, a little bit ahead of time, just to give the council, mayor notice ahead of time that we're going to be spending that money on a buyout. With this, it also comes, vacation, cash out, sick leave, cash out, all of that. So it's going to be a large chunk of change, but looking at it financially, it actually benefits the city quite a bit and helps our long-term employees if they're wanting to retire at that time.
So are you in favor of setting a deadline?
I think it would be good to set a deadline just because it's going to help with the budget process altogether. I don't know what that deadline is right now. I think that would be something we would definitely need to talk to John and Dave about and make sure URS is on board with that as well.
That'd be process more than what we need to worry about.
Yeah, but I do think it would be nice to have a specific time frame where the employee has to notify the city makes the decision. The other thing that's very important to note is if we offer this to one employee, it has to be offered to every employee in the city, and that's per URS guidelines.
But we're talking about a narrow swath of things because 25 years of service is a lot.
Yes.
And then 25 years with North Ogden.
Right.
So.
Right.
Okay.
And approximately how many employees in the city would meet that 25-year requirement to be eligible?
So right now we would have 2 employees that would benefit, that would be eligible for this. I don't know what their status would be, but right now we have 2.
Thank you.
And going forward, I don't see this being a large number. We've had a lot of retirees lately. I think we have a very young workforce. So I don't see this being a huge impact going forward.
And like you said, this has to be an advantage to the city. This isn't just something that they're automatically get. It has to be improved. Okay.
Yes. And it's not something that we're pushing them out. This is an opportunity for them to take if they chose to do so.
For medical, yeah. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Councilmember Watson.
I just had a question. Is this something that we're going to renew each year, or is this an indefinite proposal?
Well, after talking with URS, it sounds like if we, like I said, if we offer it to one employee now, it has to be eligible. I can definitely follow up with URS, but my understanding is that it has to be given. If we open that up to one person, it has to be continued forward to all employees.
But would you offer that during the budget cycle every year?
I think that's a policy decision that we would have to make, or that the council and the mayor would have to make. But yes, I think that would be on the city to make that policy change. And this, if this were to get approved, this would be in our city policy for, or the personnel policy for all employees.
So quick question I have, since it sounds like it might be an indefinite policy. Does it need to be 25 years for tier 1 employees and 20 or 30 years for tier 2?
That's a really good question.
Because the tier 2 now have to go 35 years and not 30. So
Well, and if we looked, I mean, if we looked at it like that, then we'd have to probably break it down differently for public safety, because public safety is different than public.
Years, yep.
Yeah. So that is something that we could definitely talk about, and that would be something that you as the council and mayor would have to decide.
sorry to.
No, it's part of it. So it's good that you brought it up.
Could we get, later on, us as a council, could we get a list of tenure of all the employees? Because that would help us understand that, there might be a good chunk of employees that are between 20 and 25 years, and we could see that in 3 to 5 years, that might be a bigger thing to consider. Is that possible for us to just see like a tenure list or something, so it would help us visualize?
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Like I said,
We don't need names.
right. And that was what I was going to say, is we definitely want to make sure we're maintaining confidentiality, but it would not hurt for me to give you a list saying this is how long people have been with the city and this is what we're looking at going forward.
Could you give it by department? Could you identify department?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for tonight, would you like us to make a decision on this, or would we want to look at those terms before we approve this policy?
That's up to you guys. I mean, honestly, I would like, we have somebody that we would like to, address this with. But if you would like me to, I'd be happy to contact URS and get actual numbers and things like that, and kind of send it to you and have you look at that if we want to bring it back to the council meeting.
Could we approve this policy and make an amendment? We don't like that term, but.
Do
What-
whatever you'd like, Mayor.
Okay, it's up to the council what they'd like to do. That's just my thoughts.
Well,
Yeah, I
Any
think those are good
questions?
things to think about.
Just to be clear, are you saying an amendment tonight, or you're just saying approve it as it is now, and we could bring it back in,
After we talk
however,
with the URS and
even
get
if it was in
recommendations,
2 to 4 weeks, we could bring it back with more information that Katie
How-
has
yep.
built into it.
Kind of how we deal with tier 1 versus tier 2. versus
Yes.
Public safety.
Because I don't-
1 and tier 2, because
Don't need
I think you'll have.
I don't
different-
think there's
It's
any,
different.
yeah, I don't think there's any risk if we approve it as is, and then she takes a little bit to get back to us within a month or so.
Yeah, I think that's very fair.
Yep.
Yep.
If you're willing to do that, yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Katie? If not, I'd be looking for a motion to approve, deny, or even table the proposed employer-paid Utah Retirement System service credit buyout provision for eligible North Ogden City employees as part of the retirement or separation agreements.
Mayor Barker, I move that we approve the personnel policy which was just presented by Katie Gerard about the Utah Retirement System service credit buyout.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Dalbaz and a second by Councilmember Pulver.
Thank you.
Ryan, were we better on this one? Okay, well, yeah, but did we make a better motion? Okay, thank you. All right, so this will be any other discussion. We're learning tonight. We need John back.
Yes, we do.
Okay, this will be a roll call. Councilmember Watson,
Yes.
Councilmember Dalbaz,
Yes.
Councilmember Pulver,
Yes.
Councilmember Neighbor,
Yes.
and Councilmember Carney.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes 5-0. Okay, moving on to city server purchase. This will be discussion and consideration of approval of the purchase of a new server, and our presenter is Bryce Nelson, our administrative service manager and IT specialist.
Hello, good evening, council. Um, just wanted to bring this to you guys for your, I guess, to motion to proceed. I've been watching the cost of servers. Talked to Councilmember Neighbor right before the meeting, and I realized I didn't put figures in here, but since January, I've watched the price of servers from January to our current bid. It's gone up roughly about $5,000. And they're anticipating more increases between now and July 1st. And so I'm trying to head that off. Our tentative budget that has been approved has this cost in there. So what I would be looking for is a approval, I guess, to basically we'd amend the budget this year, move those funds from the budget next year into this year, purchase that now to take advantage of that cost savings before we see the prices go up again. Unfortunately, this equipment is at its end of life. We've extended it a few years now, and it's to the point we need to move forward. So
You shared it was 5 years old. Is that
Yep, yep.
approximately 5 years?
yeah, and so this is the first of two of servers. So there'll be another one in 2 years that we'll be looking at this again.
Okay, Councilmember Pulver.
So, and if I'm getting this right, we're pulling it out of the year that would be another primary year or election year so that we can almost soften the blow by, right, smoothing the line, so to speak, kind of, sort of.
I don't. Next year's not an election year, is it?
No,
Yeah.
so we want
Right.
server in
So you're
next
pulling
year.
it from next year into this year.
Correct.
Yeah. So I concur. That's, we were sort of talking about that at the budget committee, that
Yeah. So
how to
the
smooth
money
things
for
out.
the servers would be every 2 years on the non-election years, is in the big picture. Yes.
Oh, okay. Any other questions for Bryce?
Yeah.
Yeah, Councilmember Watson.
Then if we are rotating every 2 years, this pattern wouldn't happen again in 2 years, or it would?
So we have two servers. So we're not rotating them every 2 years. We're hoping to make them every 5 years. So we have two of them. So those two it's time.
Yeah.
So in 2 years after the election year, it'll be time to renew our other server. And so it'll come back to you then.
2028, 2029
Yeah.
budget year? Okay.
Okay, be looking for a motion to approve the purchase of a new server.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Neighbor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Pulver. Any other discussion? or
So
questions for
it's
Bryce?
not necessarily we're approving a new one, and we're just pulling it from last year to or next year to this year. So clarification.
Okay, Councilmember Watson, did you have anything okay. Councilmember Watson,
Yes.
Councilmember Dowpaz,
Yes.
Councilmember Pulver,
Yes.
Councilmember Neighbor,
Yes.
and Councilmember Carney.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes 5-0. Okay, item number 9, zoning map amendment. This will be ordinance 2026-06, rezoning property located at 1155 East, 2750 North. This will be discussion and consideration of ordinance 2026-06, rezoning from RE20 and R110 to solely RE20. And our presenter is Ryan Nunn.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Council. This rezone, really quickly, the property owner, it's for sale. They had reached out to the city about potential permitted uses. It's currently split zoned. So the north half is in our RE-20 zone, which is our urban, or our rural residential. It allows agricultural uses, but that's the half that has a home on it. The rear half, which is in the R-1-10, that currently has all their agricultural uses, is in the different zone. As part of their sale, they want to have that be consistent, that this whole property can continue those agriculture uses. So really, this rezone is to clean up what was a split zone. From what we could tell, there had been two properties, they were combined, and that zoning was never cleared up at that time. And so really, we're just cleaning it up now for the owner and potential owner to have those permitted uses. Planning Commission did meet, held a public hearing, and recommended approving this rezone. and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions for Ryan? Yeah, Councilmember Culver.
So this is actually a up zone, technically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because anyways, I'm just saying, where's
To keep this in
waiting,
mind,
I'm waiting for
we
the
went up
applause
higher.
from the crowd.
And it-
Anyway,
A down zone?
No,
It
Down
goes the
zone or
opposite
up zone?
direction, yeah.
we upzoned it.
well, we
So we're
made it
down zoning it.
Zoning
I'm
Yeah.
down zoning it.
Down
bigger.
bigger. Down zone means bigger.
Okay,
Well,
you're right. But we should remember this one,
houses.
right? We should remember this one.
We're all
It's
crazy
going to
people.
the
Anyway,
best zone, RE20.
the best zone.
Yeah, the best zone. yeah.
This is
Isn't the
this is a slam dunk. We hardly ever get to go in this direction.
That's why
So
we're so giddy.
let's
Anyway.
make this happen.
Okay. And if there's no questions, I'd be looking for, oh, Councilmember Watson, did you? Oh,
So moved.
hold on, I gotta read this.
You gotta read it.
Yep. To approve ordinance 2026-06 rezoning property located at 1155 East, 2750 North from rural residential RE20 and single family residential R110 to solely RE20.
So moved.
Okay, we have a
Second.
motion by Councilmember Watson and a second by Councilmember Pulver. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, Councilmember Watson,
Yes.
Councilmember Dalpaz.
Yes.
Councilmember Pulver.
Yes.
Councilmember Neighbor.
Yes.
And Councilmember Carney.
Yes,
Okay. We're getting better.
the fastest ever.
All right, item number 10, public hearing. This is for the vacation of public street located at approximately 3900 North, 1060 East. Our presenter will be Scott Hess, and do we want to open the public hearing before your? Okay, so I'll be looking for a motion to open the public hearing, and then we'll have some discussion or presentation from Scott Hess, and then we'll have comments. I'd be looking for a motion to open the public hearing.
Mayor, motion to open the public hearing.
Motion
Second.
by Councilmember Pulver, second by Councilmember Watson. All in favor, or any
Aye.
other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, Scott, the time is now yours.
So we have a proposal on Jake Drive. There was a one-lot subdivision, the Chad Stevens one-lot subdivision, which dedicated about 200 feet of Jake Drive in benefit of a single-family home that has received its building permit and is under construction. The property owner has since acquired the remaining property around their home and area and would like to do a small, it's technically a small lot subdivision. It's under 10 lots on a private drive with the development agreement items that are going to follow this item. And in doing so, has requested that they vacate that portion of Jake Drive, which was originally dedicated through the one lot subdivision. And our understanding of staff, well, state code, John had provided a letter, but the council is looking at two items. One, does a good cause exist for the vacation? And two, is anybody in the public interest or is any individual person materially injured by the proposed vacation? And staff would suggest that neither of those two things exist, that it is a good public, there is a public good, which is reverting a portion of public street to private, which means we would not need to maintain that section up there. And then the other is really the only surrounding property owner is the property owner who's making the request to vacate the street. So there's no materially injured people. Approval of a street vacation can happen in two ways. One is for the council to pass an ordinance and then that ordinance be recorded at the recorder's office or a subdivision plat. We can do one or the other. There is a final subdivision plat for the private street, small subdivision. But I think our position would be for you to hold the public hearing, gather information, and then we'll bring back an ordinance for the council to adopt. And that way the street vacation would precede the approval of the subdivision and not hold up any further items there.
All right, any questions for Scott? Councilmember Pulver.
So can you point to it's just at the end, right? It's literally like.
So that large home that's being that is under construction.
Right.
The Jake Drive continuation is about 200 feet east, right to there. Yeah.
Okay.
So right now there's on paper through this Chad Stevens one lot subdivision, a dedicated right of way.
But it's not, doesn't exist technically.
It doesn't. The underground utilities exist. The roadway is passable by a fire and emergency vehicle, and there's a fire hydrant within the required distance to the structure. So they were able to pull building permit and move forward based on state code.
But it's
But
not
they're not-
asphalted yet.
But you're correct that there's no street that they would be eliminating, reducing any of that. It's really a changeover of the ownership on the subdivision plat.
Okay, so any maintenance of whatever is now revoked back to the private.
Would be-
Gotcha.
yeah.
And originally it was given to us, right?
It was. So it was dedicated as part of a subdivision as a requirement to receive frontage on the lot. But
Yeah.
at that time, the property owner only owned
Yeah,
their
that one.
portion of the
yeah.
property, so they had to have frontage.
Yeah.
And we do have an owner representative here as well.
Okay, so now the public hearing's open, so you can come on up because it's open to public comment too.
If you want.
If you want to make public comment or, yeah.
My name's Dave Hogan. I live on Jake Drive. I'm just wondering what's going on. So I just want to know what's actually going on there. My concern really is just snow removal. So this year, if every year's like this year, no problem. But when we have 5 feet of snow up there at times, if that's a private drive, where are they going with their snow? And then what are they going to do for snow removal versus what is the city going to do for snow removal right there? Would be my questions. And then the other one is there was some talk or rumor about a gate right there. And so is there a gate proposed?
Yes.
If there's a gate proposed, then we just had a fire up there last year. So what is the provision to allow absolute access for the fire department to get through there in case of another brush fire? What does that look like for the other residents? Because all of our homes could have been burned down last year very easily. And so I'm just wondering, is that a constriction for a fire to access that area for firefighting? And if not, then what's the plan? What's the city's plan to make sure that the fire department has access there? And then the other one, just simply snow removal. The snow piles up there. It's a short road, but before that house was built or anything was going on there, there would sometimes be a 14-foot tall mound of snow right there. So where's all that snow? Where is that going? What does that look like? Those are my questions, just concerns.
And
As
yeah.
far as them having a private, that doesn't matter to me. If
And we
they-
usually
that-
answer the
that's my only-
questions after everybody gives them, so we'll
Okay.
answer your question.
Okay.
Anyone online would like to make questions? Okay. Not seeing any additional questions, look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Councilmember Pulver. Do we have a
Second.
second? Second by Councilmember Carney. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Director Dave, would you like to respond about snow removal?
Yeah, so we would treat it just like any other dead end. So before, like he said, we were able to push it all to the end of the dead end. Now with that, having a gate there, we'll actually probably backtrack that snow, wrap the corner, do everything like we would do in any other situation where there's a dead end there. So the process will change a little bit because the gate will be there. We'll now backdrag it and actually probably just take it down the road. But yeah, I mean, we do that in other situations, so shouldn't be a problem.
So the private road isn't the entire of Jake Drive. It starts where the gate will be, is that right?
Starts where that dirt starts.
Because the two homes that are there, they wouldn't be part of the HOA.
Correct.
So they are part of a public road.
Correct. So
We're
the
gonna have-
public road will be up to,
They'll have the snow removal, the street sweepers, the trash pickup, all the things, yeah.
correct.
And to speak towards fire department access, they do have access. So I work with the fire department. We require them to put a box in there that we can get in at any time. So we can open the gate anytime. Yeah. So yeah, it is a valid concern because we did have that.
sir.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments tonight?
Is the back scrape of the snow that you're talking about, is that by the normal plows or is that by the pickup trucks that come through?
It'll probably actually be a combination of both, just because it's so high and there is so much snow. You'll probably have the big trucks back drag it, and then you'll have the little trucks clean it all up. So
Okay.
it'll probably be a combination.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments about vacating this? And then we need to give staff direction. Do we want to come back with an ordinance that it's not causing any monetarily hazard or hardship?
Injuring any persons or property. And then the other is that it would be in the best interest of the city or not in a negative interest of the city.
So we're not voting on anything, but which way would we like to go?
So streets they can be vacated two ways. So one can be through an ordinance. So in an existing street, if it could be administered through an ordinance with no map or plat change, or you can overwrite an existing plat. So in this case, the Stevens one lot subdivision with the future Hidden Hills subdivision, once it receives final plat, would overwrite that section of road, and it would just show area to be vacated and kind of reverted to private. And staff is of the opinion, one, this isn't something that needs to happen immediately. When you give up a piece of public infrastructure, it's worth taking a small amount of time. And then the other is an ordinance passed, say in 2 weeks, and then the plat coming in when the final plat is ready is like belt and suspenders. You do both of them, so it's vacated by ordinance, and then the plat comes in and just supports that vacation by ordinance.
Nobody has any, do we have any problems vacating the street?
I like vacating it to,
Okay, so we
Private
all are in
use.
favor that we should vacate it.
And the council could determine that if you want to vacate it, you could approve the vacation tonight with the recordation of the final subdivision plat and that amendment, or that it's shown as
And
the
that-
area to be
right.
vacated. And then there's no further action needed by the council.
So we can either decide to vacate it by recordation of plat or have staff bring back an ordinance. And then the recordation of plat.
Recordation.
Yeah, let's do it tonight.
We're okay with it? Okay, we're okay with that, Ryan? Is that okay? All right, then I need a motion to approve this vacation of the public street by recordation. Is that the right word?
Mhm.
I'm just making up words up here. By plat.
sounds fancy.
I know. That's what I thought, like.
Look at you, Chris.
Anybody? want
Mayor,
this
I
motion?
I motion we approve the vacation of, good heavens, what was the street?
Jake Drive.
Jake
Jake Drive.
Drive, as discussed. And what was the word again?
By recordation of.
By recordation
Okay.
on the plat
Of a new subdivision.
of the new subdivision plat.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Pulver and a second by Councilmember Carney.
People.
Did you get that? Okay, good. Is there any further discussion? All right, a roll call vote. Councilmember Watson.
Yes.
Councilmember Dowpaz.
Yes.
Councilmember Pulver.
Yes.
Councilmember Neighbor.
Yes.
And Councilmember Carney.
Yes.
All right, that passes 5-0.
Hmm.
All right, item number 11. This is a development agreement.
Oh, we need to close the public hearing.
We did.
We already did.
It was quick. You missed it.
Oh, I totally did. I really missed that. Okay, great.
Okay.
I'm glad that we closed the
Yeah.
public hearing. Woo.
Okay, development agreement ordinance 2026-07, adopting a development agreement for the Hidden Hills subdivision. And this will be discussion and consideration, and our presenter is going to be Scott Hess, our Community and Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is in the immediate area that the street vacation was just shown. This went in front of Planning Commission for a preliminary subdivision plat on May 6th, 2026. And the Planning Commission approved the subdivision plat with the following conditions. One is that the street vacation of Jake Drive to revert to a private road be completed in accordance with North Ogden City Code and Utah State Code, and a development agreement passed by City Council. The development agreement items in this particular subdivision are on heights, setbacks, accessory dwelling units, street length, utilities, and streets. And I'll run through briefly what those are. The way to think about this subdivision is it's a large estate lot, private subdivision, 8 lots. Um, there's some nuances about development on hillsides, and we have ordinances right now about the definitions. Let's start with heights. So a house height is measured from the top back of curb to the total height of the house. In some cases in this subdivision, the driveway could be 200 feet long and a significant elevation gain or drop in that time frame. So while the house itself might be 35 feet tall from average grade, if you were to truly measure it from the top back of curb of the private street, it could be 100 feet tall. So the DA would determine heights due to significant elevation changes. The home height would be measured solely from the average grade at the building footprint and ignore the uphill and downhill measurements as they relate to the building. In setbacks, in some cases, the most practical home building site might place a home closer to the rear property line than currently permitted in the HP3 zone, which requires a 50-foot rear yard setback. So to provide flexibility in home design and placement, as well as to protect existing natural landscaping, the developer is requesting a reduced rear yard setback to 100. Thank you. The applicant representative is here. And then accessory dwelling units. This was a variance that was approved on the Stevens current single-family home, is that an accessory dwelling unit is now permitted, a detached ADU is now permitted on every lot over 11,000 square feet, which all of these lots will exceed that. But in some cases, the requirement to locate an accessory dwelling unit behind the primary dwelling puts the home physically impossible to water, sewer, and stormwater if it's, another 50 feet in elevation below the existing home. So in this case, ADUs would be permitted to not be in front of the house or to be in front of the front yard setback of the home, but be located kind of within the same building footprint as the rest of the primary dwelling. So it could be on the side of the house, not necessarily in the back. And then for this private street, it is a private single roadway not designed to connect to any additional surrounding developments. And our city code has a block length standard of 1,320 feet. And this development would have 1,780 feet before there's a fire turnaround at the other end. And the request is to allow an exception to the block length maximum based on there not being a continuation, no north-south road connections in this, and it really making the most of the developable area without limiting them back another 400 feet in order to create some really strange shaped lots. So that must be approved by the city engineer and the fire marshal prior to final plat acceptance. So the DA might say that, but fire marshal still has fire life safety power. That's a request. And then utilities, the sewer, stormwater, culinary water within the development would all be private. And as previously noted, the streets, Jake Drive, previously dedicated in the Chad Stevens one lot subdivision, would be vacated. The remainder of the street would be private. And then there would be a locked gate at the end of the public portion of Jake Drive. So those are the primary elements of the development agreement. You have a draft development agreement in your packet for consideration, as well as the subdivision as it was preliminarily approved by Planning Commission. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Okay. Any questions for Scott? Councilmember Pulver.
So in your reply to my email about the trail concerns, is that something that needs to be enforced or not enforced, but reinforced, or is it what's in there good, I guess is the question.
I think it wouldn't hurt in this case. You have 2 subdivisions moving forward simultaneously with different property owners. So at Michelle Lane on the south, you've got Wasatch Hills that touches Hidden Hills. No more subdivision with the name Hills are permitted in the city. And both of them cross or have existing user-created trails that cross them. And our general plan shows trail connectivity in the general area, but several of these trails would cross right through the middle of home sites. So the recommendation from staff was to create a trail from Michelle Lane on the periphery of the property that would hit then the Stevens property and swing out around. So it would be a coordinated trail system between Wasatch Hills and Hidden Hills. And they're utilizing the same civil engineer. They're all on board verbally and, like a handshake deal essentially. But I think it would be prudent for the council in approving the development agreement to require the trail be coordinated with Wasatch Hills to the south and installed as part of the development. So this would get you from Michelle Lane to the Forest Service land on the east and moving east-west across the bench.
I agree, and I guess that my main point is that with it's basically an established trail, because unless there's postings that prevent, say, private property, trespassing, basically it is a trail, right? So to me, I think we would need to have it established before, people start building houses and bikes are like, why, so I don't know what we need to say in there to say that, number one, coordination, but also that this is first. And I would maybe even say, yes, put signs because, you're going to have, and to me, that would be something that would be a benefit to the people developing that land because they don't want people using the old trail or trying to develop a new trail through their subdivision. So to me, I would think there would be kind of a benefit for both if we required signage and development of the trail before. I don't know how to say that.
And the final subdivision plats for both Wasatch Hills to the south and Hidden Hills to the north both had no requirements on the plat to run a trail in a 20-foot easement noted on the plat, and those two would be coordinated. The timing of when the trail gets constructed, I would say the council could dictate that through the development agreement. There is no current development agreement on Wasatch Hills to the south. So it'd be single-sided in that particular case. But it's something where, staff is concerned about. As the development goes in, we're losing, even if they're user-created, they're long-standing user-created trails. And the current home at the end of Jake Drive, there have been people, hikers walking through the middle of the construction zone, essentially. So moving the trail prior to homes being constructed would be prudent.
And safe. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing there is that, there is some, from what I could find online, law that says you have to. So, or allow people to walk through your property. So I guess there's one or two things. And I just want to have it, at least ironclad where we can in this regard. So I'm open to suggestions.
Councilmember Watson.
Yeah, I agree. I hope it's not too late for us to get that wording in all of those three development agreements.
There is no development.
There isn't one for the south. That was a one lot, it's a single lot subdivision with
Okay.
one home. So there's no need for a development agreement. They're not doing anything that's against, asking for a variation from code. So in this one, there's the development agreement. You could add that provision that the trail be located in an easement and constructed, and choose a date, like prior to C of O of the first home, or
So we can have an ask even though there's not a development agreement.
you could not on the south. The south is a coordination with a property owner who is interested in helping because the trail cuts right through the middle of essentially their home building, their home
Okay.
site.
So it's beneficial to them. Didn't you say there was another property? It was Stevens?
So Stevens is the Hidden Hills, I'm sorry.
okay.
And then the Atkinsons is the Wasatch Hills. So it's two large
properties.
Correct.
Yeah. I was also concerned about the trail. I think, especially where it's a gated community, that preserving that trail is essential. I also had a couple other questions. John sent an email with edits to the wording. Is that going to be incorporated, or has it already been? Okay. And then I'm curious, Scott, if you could tell us more about the height from the curb. I can see the reason why that would be really impossible to follow in some of these situations, but has this happened before? It was probably written like this for a reason. So are there other homes that haven't been able to follow that didn't get this exception, or?
There are a few dozen homes in the cove that don't currently comply.
Okay.
You can stand on.
It's very common.
Nebo, right? And if you were to measure from the back of the public street of Nebo to the top of a house, it's non-compliant.
Yeah.
And then they have the private cul-de-sac, lanes that you go into. So measuring house height in some of these areas has been very difficult. There have been several that have received a variance because of the uniqueness of the lot. So it's not unprecedented. And we looked at other codes. There's Draper City's dealt with this, Farmington City's dealt with it, Centerville, Bountiful. Everyone deals with the house height issue a little bit differently, but for us, it seems reasonable to say you're not going to dig out 20 feet of hillside in order to place your home so that the overall house height from, a chosen point is the right height. So the 35-foot would still stand. That's the home height you can get in every single family zone across North Ogden. It's just at what point you measure that 35 feet.
Because you have some lots, mine's one of them, that from north to south, you have a 40-foot drop.
And I can see why, but at some point, someone wrote this in intentionally. So, I mean, I guess, why do we have the ordinance if we're not going to stand by it? I don't know.
So the back of Mason
line
Cove is a
item.
good example. So if you go to 3100 North and then you turn left on Mountain Road, the first few homes you see right there leading up into the Mason Cove subdivision are really good examples of measuring uphill and downhill home heights. And there's one house that is a rambler from the front and is 4 stories from the back. So it has 2 subterranean basements, and that's because the amount of slope that drops off. And that's the reason, is because had we permitted a 35-foot tall house at the street level, on one side it looks really normal, and then it would be 70 feet tall on the backside. So that I think is the reasoning for the code. When you get into the geologically sensitive areas, it begins to make more sense to say, let's not have massive cuts and fills in an area that's geologically sensitive, and look at how's the house going to be positioned in the least impactful spot.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. That helps.
And we do have the property consultant.
Geneva Blanchard with
Geneva's here.
to represent the project.
Represents the project if we would like to hear from her as well.
But do it in the mic.
Please do.
There is a version of the development agreement, and maybe it just didn't get,
It's in there. It's
okay, that we added the trail verbiage. So connecting the trail around, and there's an exhibit. So where our end of property is, where Wasatch Hills, I'm guessing, is connecting, will go up and around, and that will be constructed with all the improvements prior to a home being occupied.
Yeah.
Is our intent. While we grub roads and do all that, we're trying to keep a fire line too. So we'll grub all that.
It's that document right there.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Yep.
Right.
I thought it was a 10-foot. I
the
thought,
easement.
yes.
It was attached to it. There was no legal
We
description.
mentioned 20.
In Wasatch Hills, it was 20 feet. 10 feet's really narrow to get even
Okay.
a mini X through.
Well, 10 foot's perfect for a mini X. Is the reason I thought it was 10 foot. 20 is large for a trail.
And we can figure, just essentially, as long as the trail exists.
We're fine with
We'll want the easement to exist and it would exist also as like a public utility easement. So we'd have opportunity as the city to go in if necessary.
Yep.
But otherwise it's really for rerouting the trail.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's exactly right on the sign posting. As soon as we have approval here, we'll start posting signs and rerouting people and doing all that. So that'll go for safety just on our side. We want to keep people out of the construction. So we'll do that first. That was really my only clarification.
Any other questions for Geneva?
I don't know if this is important or not, but what I was looking at had an exhibit A with a legal description of the property, but there's nothing there.
It will be filled in with the final execution draft. Once we have the subdivision plat and everything in the final legal,
Oh.
it'll be filled in. Same with the few remaining exhibits.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Good. So I guess the question would be, do we need to add in there coordinating with, what'd you say?
Wasatch Hills.
Wasatch Hills?
we're just hitting their property line. We're gonna do it well before they do.
Okay.
So I don't know what their plan is, but we'll hit their property line in that exhibit. Then they can either pull it from us or their trails will continue.
And I don't know that you can, I wish John was here, but I don't know that you can condition
Yeah, I
their
know.
property.
That's what I
on
was thinking.
The neighboring property, but when the trail marches up the hill and then dies at the Hidden Hills property, people will just create a trail that goes across. So that's another one that I think they'll be done in coordination based on utilizing the same civil engineering firm for both projects.
Yep. Yeah, I imagine they pretty much happen at the same time. We may even use the same person to do it. I just don't really know how serious they are to building and getting going on their side. So we'll meet their property line and we'll reroute whatever we can on ours.
Just need the city engineer to be beating people, I think, right? Okay, he's in the background. Get his billy club out. Okay.
Did you guys overcome wasn't there a water issue in this area? Did you guys secure the water that was needed or am
Yeah.
I?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So secondary is
Secondary
still
is
good.
being serviced through Pineview. Mhm.
Okay. Is there, I remember that we have kind of this hope to have a tank in that area.
Mhm.
Would, I don't know where it's gonna go or fit anymore.
Yeah.
Would you guys be open to allowing a tank somewhere on your property or not? Or I don't know if it would be better without having our water expert here, if it.
I'll make this easy at this point. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, I guess we missed that opportunity.
Unless we want to buy the whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you want to buy the whole lot. So,
Okay.
Keep up there, isn't it?
yeah, if you want, I mean, honestly,
Gonna
if
be building
you,
next to Michael Jordan, I've heard.
yeah, if you guys want to purchase a lot, yeah, for sure.
I'm just from staff's perspective, where do we go? We need a tank up in that area at some point. Is there any other place to put a tank that will gravity feed down?
So we just need it at 5280. So yeah, there's others, but
Okay, so you guys have a plan B, C, potentially, kind of ish.
Like the next tank was like in 5 years away or so, wasn't it, Dave?
not a,
No.
well,
There possibly.
possibly. It just
Yeah.
depends on growth.
Or it might just be the difference of not having a tank that gravity feeds
Hmm.
right there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can figure that out.
Yes.
Anything else for me? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Scott or any discussion? Further discussion on this development agreement?
So, John's suggestions are into this agreement that's on the screen. Is that correct? John's edits that he gave us?
Yep.
Okay.
And if you would, I mean, I guess if the council is willing, approve the development agreement with any minor edits, like minor non-substantive edits would be helpful. And then if there's anything that we can go back and forth on, but these articles down through section 7 that you're looking at are all of the primary pieces of development agreement that you are agreeing to that vary from code. But if there's other tiny, small sections, obligation, timeframes, indemnification clause, that sort of thing that we need to hit legally, it may not substantively change the agreement, but I just don't want to have to bring it back to council over and over.
Councilmember Watson?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay. Do we have any other discussion first? Okay, go ahead and so this will be a motion on ordinance 2026-07, adopting a development agreement for the Hidden Hills subdivision.
I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2026-07, adopting a development agreement for the Hidden Hills subdivision, including the minor revisions given by John Call and the protection of a trail as outlined tonight.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Watson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Dalpaz. Any other discussion?
Did we need to add in what Scott was saying, that we can allow minor edits? Non-substantive edits?
Did I say that?
I don't
feel
know
like
that that was said, but that would be helpful just so that we can refine any edges and bring back a an agreement
Yeah.
to be signed.
I tried to say including the minor edits that
She
came
said
from John
something like
Call.
that.
Well, no, but John Call, but he's saying other edits besides that.
Any other, it would be non-substantive
Oh, okay.
minor edits.
I'll amend my motion to include non-substantive minor edits from staff.
Okay, so we have an amendment. Councilmember Lopez, would you
Second.
second that? Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Councilmember Watson.
Yes.
Councilmember Dalpaz.
Yes.
Councilmember Pulver.
Yes.
Councilmember Neighbor.
Yes.
And Councilmember Carney.
Yes.
Okay, that passes 5-0. All right, moving on to the land use discussion. This is for 3100 North and 450 East. This will be, our presenter will be Scott Hess, our Community and Economic Development Director.
I'm sorry that it continues on. This is a really interesting one. The mayor and council has asked the planning commission over the last year or year and a half to do real planning and look at planning elements, including general plan update. One of them that we've considered with the planning commission is small scale commercial. So we've got the survey software that we put out. We put a survey for flash vote out on small scale commercial. We had 276 respondents. We gave you the flash vote results, but just to go over them briefly, the survey comments showed mixed opinions about small scale commercial and businesses in primarily residential areas. Some support the idea. We're looking for ways to increase tax base in the city. But what we're asking for today is the council's consideration or thoughts about the specific intersection at 3100 North and 450 East, which is the Washington Boulevard widening project. From 3100 North south, this will now be a 5-lane cross section and represents one of the busiest intersections in the city, second to 2600 North, 2550 North, and Washington Boulevard. 3100 North is a major east-west collector between the high school and then going out over the Divide Road. And if we go back to my favorite North Ogden map, which is the 1960s general plan map, that showed commercial marching up the hill to approximately 3550, and we've looked at that now as somewhere in Mountain Road area. I think that when the subdivision around 1050 East and 3100 North was done, there was likely a lost opportunity at that time to put a commercial node that would be somebody's last ice stop or snack stop or something before going up over the Divide Road. So staff looks at this and we are really interested in how could we leverage this massive transportation investment, the large number of vehicles that we have, and do a small scale commercial piece here. I know there's been significant pushback on a gas station. You could have, there's a number of different types of businesses you could do. You could try to do a non-gas pump convenience store, some small corner market, but that would be what staff's interest is in asking the council what your level of caution, concern, or other feedback is before bringing that to the planning commission, knowing that right now is really the shot to put in the utilities in the correct way, and we own the property, so the city would have to determine its surplus, sell it to the sell and work with the right developer in order to develop it. So there's a lot of certainty in the city's hands. It's more a question of you can't agree tonight, but but would the city entertain the idea of small scale commercial at this intersection generally as a way to improve tax base, potentially balance some of the trips that are happening? And then we also provided you with the Placer AI data, which I think is really interesting, just looking at where people were, where they went, and pre and post. And most of the gas station trips between Maverick and 7-Eleven put people like going from work to the gas station home, or home to the gas station and then work. So there's a lot of these interim trips. And this would be one more spot that people wouldn't have to go as far down the hill to hit a little corner market, or I don't know, pick up snacks. And I think the high school kids would benefit. And I think that we would sell probably a lot of ice to people who forgot it before they go up over the Divide Road. That's my opinion. the residents are cautious, certainly about neighborhood commercial. But this isn't it's a residential area. It is primarily a residential area, but it's a 5-lane road, and 3100 North is a major road. So this is the intersection of two heavily trafficked roads that aren't going to get less traffic over time. So the impact would be initial in saying, yes, this is now commercial, but the reality is we would be making really the best out of this massive amount of transportation infrastructure investment that we're doing. That's staff's opinion. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or have that conversation, but we're just looking for guidance before as we develop general plan items, if we wanted to rezone this, how the Public Works Department begins to look at putting in utility mains into the area.
So I'll go first. Since the city owns the land, we could almost pick and choose what type of commercial, if we decide to make it commercial, we want.
Yeah.
So in theory, we don't have to put an auto parts store here if we don't want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we could.
So I would,
But
just.
Okay. There's my point is as a city, we actually have a lot of control over this piece of our property since we do own it.
So I think, so I've been on the planning commission, and I've been on the council for a while now, and I've heard this discussion on commercialization along Washington Boulevard a lot. But it always seems like we don't quite turn the key to do this. It feels like to me, this is a wonderful opportunity to do exactly, I think, where you're heading, what you're suggesting, Scott. And I continue to remember the newsletter I received from Neil Berube, where he outlined the budget of North Ogden, how it's more heavily influenced by property taxes than other communities near us. And the only way we're going to solve that is getting more sales tax. So as I look at this, my orientation is for sales tax for sure. And we have 2 acres here. I think that's what you outlined in your summary, Scott, 2 acres of land. I mean, I'm 100% supportive of moving down this direction. My first question is, are we at a critical time frame, or how much time do we have before the infrastructure stuff has to be in place? Dave?
So if we can get some guidance, because to give you an idea, looking on these lots here, is if that's the direction the council wants to go, then we will look at upsizing these, like the water meters, the sewer laterals, those kind of things. If it was something that you guys weren't interested in at all, then we would just use them or put in residential meters, residential laterals and those kind of things. We probably have 2 months, 3.
Wow.
Maybe 2 months to have a pretty good idea of what we're gonna do, without having to go back and dig it up and those kind of things. And so, that's why we wanted to bring it to you guys this week so that we could start down that road if that was something that you guys were interested in.
Yeah. The thing that I also just wonder about is when you say the term you say small commercialization, what's the term you use? Small
neighborhood commercial.
Neighborhood.
So I'm thinking maybe not
So
big box, but medium
so
box.
I would give a good example that it would be something like a straw market. I'm not saying it is that, but that's what I think of with small neighborhood commercial. So I think that's a good example that the public could have.
What's interesting about that, Washington Boulevard goes from Washington Terrace to North Ogden. I mean, you're talking a huge commercial route here. So I don't know why we would limit ourselves to neighborhood or the small commercial. That's just my observation. I mean, this thoroughfare is established. Why would we limit ourselves to that? Is it maybe because of the size of the lots? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's too small. And I think it's within an established residential neighborhood. I think you'd have I don't say a revolt, but you'd have, I know a lot of people that I've talked to are against it. However, I think this is, if you do it right, you know, I don't say barber shop, but something small like that. I mean, if you think what's in between Smith's gas station and the bank there, that type of thing, where you can have 2 or 3 businesses in a small area that don't have a ginormous parking lot footprint that do get business on a constant basis. You know, because I think what is it, a coffee shop and a barber shop, and is that it? Maybe anyway, but something like that that's not ginormous, it's not huge, but it provides a service. And I think that's the thing we're looking for, to establish something in that area. And my only thought is that, you know, are we going to cough up some land to the people that are behind it that already have asked for some of it? I don't know if that's.
And the other option that staff has looked at, given we would want controlled intersection, not controlled intersections. It's the number of driveways, right? We'd want to restrict the number of driveways. So another thing with that slope that staff has floated would potentially be connected units, duplexes, or a short townhome run there. And for the same reason that you could maximize the utility of a 5-lane road. It's buffering against single family, and that's whether it's a small commercial that's closed a certain amount of the day or is restricted in use or hours or lights or any number of things, but the city is ultimately in control. We own the corner of Alberta and Washington, or 2850 and Washington Boulevard right now. We'll own this northwest corner of 3100 and Washington Boulevard. So we're sitting in a good spot to pick and choose the right use in the right location. We just don't want to put in a bunch of residential meters where they are and then come back in 18 months and cut a brand new road.
Yeah. Well, I'm behind you. At double the size you're talking though, in just Steve Neighbor. Okay. And I know I'm only right now commenting on me, but again, Washington Boulevard is an established commercial thoroughfare. I don't know why we would be limiting ourselves.
Sure.
Just observation.
Can I just ask, the entire red area is what we're talking about?
That's
For
parcels
available.
that we've looked at. Yep. And there's the next property up over, we would love to explore potentially the purchase of that. That's its
Which one
own.
are you talking about?
Scott's talking about this one.
That one?
That one.
Then
Yeah.
you could square this all off.
Yeah.
Make
That'd be
something,
nice.
or, I mean, you could do it.
So is this something the city would put our own business on there, or we would select who we would sell it to for an
We're
exact
someone to
purpose?
put a business
Okay,
there.
I was like,
Or
all right, got it.
determine the type of business that goes on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
We would probably put it out for proposal. We're looking for these types of businesses or this sales tax generation, and then let somebody come back and say, we're a development company that wants to do X, Y, or Z that meets your vision. And then the council, similar to the vacation process, would need to hold you could do it one of 2 ways. You could hold a public hearing and determine it surplus and sell it, or you could be the owner developer like we were on Deer Meadows over by Barker Park, and then sell the developed parcel back to somebody. The second one is, I don't know that we want to be the developer, but we would love to be in a position where we pick and choose what the use
Decide.
is.
I like the idea just because of the sales tax. I think a lot of the neighbors are not going to like the idea. Just the age of the neighborhood and bringing anything in there. But I mean, we need all the sales tax we can get.
It's on Washington
great-
Boulevard.
It's a great.
Where would the
Location.
access points be? if
In
it
this
was
case, you'd
one?
be, 30, you would focus on 3100 North
Mhm.
and maybe one right, in the middle, or we try to align them with intersections.
Oh,
But
right.
it's going to be very difficult to make that left-hand turn if the access isn't far enough south, if you were going to go left-hand turn to go north.
Mhm.
We could also restrict that movement.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
The other, it's interesting, but if you haven't looked at it this way, as you drive up and down Washington Boulevard, especially from Alberta south, the number of those existing single-family homes that are actually home-based businesses or true businesses in those old homes is considerably more than you perceive as you drive up and down. So even though they look like homes, they're paying full price on property tax revenue because they are commercial businesses. So that would be the same thing here. Even if it was a quiet, another dental office or a pediatrician or a title office or accounting, they would pay full property tax if it were commercially zoned and they were to develop it, even if it were to fit in quietly with the neighborhood. So for us, we think it's a positive use, but we do understand when we post public hearing notice and rezone that property, we probably have,
Yeah.
there will be people in the room for sure.
Yeah. Just another thought, with the tight time frame, would it make sense for us to examine possibly economic development company to take a quick look at this to see exactly what we might, what I heard you say, you said something so interesting about that Sherwin-Williams store. You know what you said, right? These people came in and they knew more about us than we knew about
Them.
us.
Sure.
That was a striking comment because I admire you so much, but I know you're so busy too. But I just wonder, would it be helpful to think about in a short time frame to think about an outside consultant possibly to help look at this and vision it for us a little bit and what might be possible?
And Peter's not in the room anymore, but we don't currently have, I don't have budget in my department to do this. And so I don't know that we have
Well,
budget for consulting funds unless we grab them out of someone
It would
else's
it would
budget.
be nice to know and I'm still talking about the consultant.
Mhm.
It'd be really nice to know to monetize that space in terms of sales tax potential. So I think we can't be cheap either on this. And I don't know where we'd get the funds, but we can't be cheap on it with this unique opportunity that's presented itself. And maybe we have enough expertise internally to do it. I don't know.
I mean, the best sales tax driver in this area would be a gas station. It would be a convenience store with gas sales. That's just the reality of it. The city, and looking at our retail leakage studies, we don't necessarily need another gas station
Yeah,
at
I agree.
29,000 people, but at 40,000 we do. And this would likely balance trips a little bit and
Yeah,
balance means
yeah.
spread the load. So our sales tax revenue initially may be flat or neutral, but we would have another opportunity as growth increases to see those
Yeah.
sales.
So we had a few meetings months ago where residents were starting to ask, will the land be available? We're interested in purchasing, and we let them know that there will be a public process to potentially have the opportunity to purchase some of these areas. So we already know that residents, I can just 99% guarantee it, that residents will not have the vision for this. That doesn't mean that we can't
Yeah.
not have the vision for it. Everyone needs to be very aware that residents will not have a vision for this. They just won't. I guarantee it.
And
That's what I was.
and I can appreciate that.
So we just got to be real about that. And it doesn't mean that we can't consider what this could become, but we just have to be very real that it's gonna be an upward battle that way. But the way I see it is if we were to put it out for a request for proposal just to see, is it okay, Scott, that we put a request for proposal out to anyone to say, give us your ideas, tell us what you want to bring, and we're not approving anything by putting that RFP out, correct? Because I feel like that is no risk to anyone. It just gives us the option to see, is there a gas station that would be interested in, which I think people would hate the most.
Yeah.
But is there a neighborhood commercial, kind of like more like a straw market that would be interested in coming in, barbershop, all that stuff? To Scott's point, either way, if it goes somewhat commercial, it's going to be a net gain to the city because we're going to get that additional property tax.
I agree.
So it feels like it'd be an opportunity, but we'd have to move quickly to have Scott work on an RFP, put it out there, say, submit your ideas, let us know what you're thinking. We probably don't have official interest from that property owner that's right next there, right?
Not that I'm aware. They haven't contacted me as the property manager in the city.
Okay. That could be challenging, but I feel like that's the direction that we go. We're not making a decision to do it.
Yeah.
We're making a decision to try to have the option to do it.
Go ahead.
But they're
Go ahead.
looking to make stubs, right? And I think that's the thing. And
Yeah.
I
Do we
think we're
want-
saying, yes, make stubs.
Absolutely.
Councilmember Watson.
How much extra does it cost to stub for these larger utilities?
Now or in the future?
No, no, like now, like just
not bad.
not really.
Yeah.
Okay, then there you go.
I'm wondering if there's a way that we can zone it in a way that someday it could be a gas station, but right now we're really picky and choosy, and we do just put some kind of straw market in there for now because we aren't 40,000 yet.
The hard part is once the use goes down on the ground, what's the trigger for it to turn over, right? And
So
this
they're
is
not the same use then.
not, well, they may be. You might
Yeah,
say this is community commercial, but if you have a viable little straw market and it is working into the future, it may not ever turn over.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
The other option is that it could be maintained as, you know, essentially landscaping for a few years until it's decided that it's time to turn over to commercial too. That would be a cost, and that would be cost to maintain and all that stuff, but it would give us time too. But I'm having a hard time without that property to the northwest on that red line. I'm having a really hard time seeing, is there any possibility of making it happen without that property? Because I'm not seeing it.
No, but I think that, well, yes and or no, I guess it depends on how, I'm not the developer looking at developing this, but if you were to commercially zone that corner, the value of that property would increase dramatically enough that I can't say for that particular owner, but my guess is they would sell. The property value would increase based on it being commercial.
So I liked how you said earlier that if we wanted to make it feel more like it fit into the neighborhood feel, that we could limit the, you know, if we are being picky and choosy because it's our land, that we limit the amount of hours it's open or lights, the traffic flow, right? But if it's a gas station, I mean, there's no way to do that, right?
Could have the convenience store portion of it close. You could have maybe 24-hour pumps, or there's a number of things you could do.
Miller, the one on Highway 89 and 2700 closes at 8 or 10 o'clock at night.
And that's the same thing as like Carmart on Second and Harrison.
Yeah.
So it's not unheard of. They do close.
The gas station portion of it closes at 10 p.m. and I mean, you can still
No more
get
potato
gas.
logs after 10 p.m.
Well, I mean, the light pollution, you know, if you were living 100 feet from that, you know, trying to sleep, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking, but I get it. I mean, I think that if there was a way that we could make it cohesive, then I think it would be great too.
All right.
So are we directing staff to keep pursuing this option?
Yes.
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 Absolutely.
I've written notes.
Dope it out.
and I'm- Send an email. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, moving on to item number 13. This is our contract with Administrative Hearing Officer Services and our discussion and consideration of the 2-year Administrative Hearing Officer Services contract with Roger Baker. And our presenter is surprisingly Scott Hess again.
Thank you. Hopefully this one's hopefully a quick one. The city has been without an administrative hearing officer. Administrative hearing officers are by ordinance, the person, the body or person who hears variances, appeals, and really any number of items that might get appealed. That could be my decision as an administrator, as the community development director. I could make a call and it can be appealed. If planning commission makes a call and somebody appeals it, or the city council, it goes to this independent third party. And Meg Ryan with Utah League of Cities and Towns did a wonderful job for us. She was our administrative hearing officer for several years and decided not to renew her contract. We've put this out to request for proposals 2 different times with 0 respondents in either time, and that's gone to the Utah American Planning Association, the Utah City Managers Association. There's just very few people who do this, and one of the people who do this for many cities happens to be the father of our city administrator, so there's a bit of a conflict of interest there. So when I was at the conference down in Bryce Canyon at the Utah APA, I asked our Utah State Land Use Ombudsman, Jordan Collimore, for any recommendations that he had, and he recommended Roger Baker, who's a retired civil attorney, and contacted Roger, asked him to take a look at the RFP, see if it's something he'd be interested in, and he sent in a contract. So for us, or he sent in a proposal. We don't do a lot of these. In the 5 years I've been here, there have been 5, basically 1 per year between variances and appeals. So it's not a big lift, but it's something we need to have. And Meg Ryan, to her wonderful professional credit, had been willing to do it off contract for us twice because her contract actually ended almost 2 years ago. And it's been difficult to replace that person. So with this, even though the costs are increased from, I think it was $250 for a hearing, and now it's 400 plus, some hours and time, that hearings will be a little bit more expensive, and we could look at our consolidated fee schedule to assure that those costs are being passed on appropriately to the folks who are appealing or those folks who are attempting to get a variance. But staff's recommendation is to accept the one proposal that we've received in nearly 2 years for an administrative hearing officer.
All right. Any questions? Yes. Go ahead.
Does the hearings, let me see here, what's the title of this? Hearings officer, administrative hearing, do they review other administrative areas or just your area?
Just our area. This
Okay.
is the Brent Bateman training on what hat do you wear. This is the quasi judicial. So this is where they are interpreting the law in, planning commission administers the law, city council creates the law, and they interpret it. So
Yeah.
when I make a call about a hedge height and then that call is appealed, then the administrative hearing officer hears staff's portion and the appeal body, the person who has appealed portion, and then they interpret the law.
Okay, thank you. So it sounds like he is very, very qualified. Is it going to be a problem that he lives in Tooele and most of these
No,
hearings are going to be virtual?
No, so Meg Ryan, 100% virtual.
Oh,
So
she was.
Yep. So she never attended one in person.
Oh, okay. That's good.
All right. Any other questions for Scott? If not, be looking for a motion to approve the 2-year administrative hearing officer services contract with Roger Baker.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Neighbor. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Dalpaz. Any further discussion? All right, roll call vote. Councilmember Watson.
Yes.
Councilmember Dalpaz.
Yes.
Councilmember Pulver.
Yes.
Councilmember Neighbor.
Yes.
And Councilmember Carney.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That motion passes 5-0. Moving on to our city council pillar assignment updates. These are updates on the council priority pillars representing the city's most important focused areas. Public safety was Councilmember Carney.
All right. The North Ogden Police Department currently has one candidate in backgrounds for an open lateral police officer position. And on Friday, June 12th, we'll be having our 40th annual NOPD golf tournament at the Barn Golf Course. The contributions from the tournament directly benefit families and individuals within North Ogden and the surrounding community by providing monetary support throughout the year and for the Sub for Santa program. The police department would like to thank all those that donate to the program and participate in the tournament.
Thank you.
Did you say the 12th or the 20th?
12th.
That's good, because that's what my,
That's what your calendar said?
that's when I'll be there, so I hope.
Okay, economic development with Councilmember Watson.
I reached out to Nate Davis and Scott Hess, and we've got permits for almost every building in Cooperstown now, apartments at Prominence Point, at the framing stage, and the Fast Stop is coming to City Council soon. That's at the corner of 17th and Washington.
And we heard a lot of economic development tonight. Okay, thank you. And finance with Councilmember Neighbor.
Yes, so I'm just continuing to integrate with the financial team, and I'm going to their monthly meetings. We have one tomorrow, so we're just on the path of continuing to support them and helping in whatever way we can.
Okay, thank you. Public comments. This is our time to make final comments tonight. It's noted that there's no public left in the room. We've scared them away. And we're looking online to see if anyone wants to raise their hand. Okay. Not seeing any public comments. We'll move on to mayor, council, and staff comments. Ryan. Tim. Scott. Come on, you could give us more, Scott. No. Dave.
Sir.
All right. Any updates from the council or final comments?
I've got one.
Okay.
A resident that reached out. She is wondering about talking about meetings about Earth Day. An idea of maybe, I don't know if we can do anything with a QR code or a donation box at the different parks that people could donate money for trees for certain parks. Saying that she with her grandkids likes to go to the parks and would be fun to have some kind of donation box. Not sure how that mixes with the city money, but wanted me to bring that up. She doesn't like to get in front of people.
Okay, we'll look into it.
Or even just like a sign with a QR code,
Yep.
donate here.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple comments. I had kind of an aha moment, by the way. This is kind of cool. Maybe I'm crazy, but Memorial Day landed earlier in the year this year, and Labor Day lands later in the year this year. We have extra time for the pool to increase revenue. My city council mind is always thinking in this way. So I know we got the weather equation, but man, we got extra time to try to make that thing make us some money. So
That was the aha moment.
yeah, that was that was just aha. I didn't want to gloss over that we had some severe concerns about the burn at the waste pit. So it's happened every single year I've been here. It's been a huge complaint. And even though it's just a huge complaint from a very few of the residents, it was heard a little bit more this time because I think the wind shifted in just the right way that it had a very big impact on it.
We actually had a cold front with low pressure that pushed the smoke down and didn't let it get out.
Yeah,
That was the issue.
that's crazy. So I really feel for the neighbors that were talking about the impacts that it had on their health and what they had to go through. So I just think we need to start talking a little bit more seriously about a chipper, and it's going to cost money, and we're going to have to figure out how to pay for it, and whether it's going to be general fund or whether it's going to be in a capital project that we save up for 5 years then buy it. I just feel like we're getting to that point that, I mean, I guarantee it, for the rest of all city council people for the rest of time will have major complaints about that. I know it's only once or twice a year, but I got to realizing that it's not just an inconvenience. It is health stuff that is happening. And I think that's what we need to consider a little bit more in the discussion.
Yeah, especially when I can smell it, that's pretty bad. Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things is the volume, and I think that's what we need to talk about is because I know most of it probably can't be recycled, meaning sold. I think there's some kind of weird thing for that, but so it's not just chipping it, it's also getting rid of it. But I think I think we need to have a plan in place to say what it's, or just what it is. And I know it's probably resurrected, and Dave just kind of goes, what's the price this year? And kind of puts it out there. And then we talk about it. But I think, but Councilman Delpas brought up a good point. It's like, well, maybe this is something we pull from emergency funds because it's something that's very impactful.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I didn't consider before because like, oh, we can't fit it in our budget, blah, blah, blah. But, and I think that's something that we need to talk about is that if it comes out of, we make a budget amendment and pay for it. I mean, I think we're at the point we're at. And I think
It feels like it kind of fits in the
yeah.
in the realm of potentially helping address kind of an emergency situation for people's health. People could debate how much of an emergency it is, but even if we didn't do that, and even if we put a line item in each year's budget for 5 years, and then in 5 years we purchase that chipper, that would be a much better solution than not doing anything. And we'll continue to get 5 more years of major complaints, but then after 5 years, we've addressed it. So one way or the other, let's really think about that. Could staff at least go back and look at how much it would cost and get some estimates?
Yeah, so I have no problem. Yeah, we can definitely put that together. Get you guys real costs for the chipper, the removal of the chips, all of that. We can just bring that whole thing back to you guys And
What about Ogden City has the chipper, but then sells back the chippings?
correct.
Whatever they're called.
It has to be, it can't be toxic. It can't, there's a whole bunch of things that have to be.
And I think, I mean, the health aspects are most important, but there was a couple of emails that I was reading. This would just be me. I pull up somewhere and someone's like, "Why does your car smell like smoke?" Or, when you go camping, you get home from campfires and I can't wait that those clothes don't come in until they go straight to the washer. So I couldn't imagine my whole house smelling like smoke besides all the health stuff and cars and that. I feel bad.
So, a lot of the emails were kind of, or maybe a couple, talked about, is there ways that we can compromise or adjust before we just go straight to buying the chipper? And I'm sure that staff's been going through this for year after year, and so you probably have thought of everything. But like if we were to cut it shorter and not be closer to the evening, or build some kind of, smoke wall that pushed it away, or turned it off when we knew there was going to be a windstorm come through. I mean, you've thought about all these things, and there's not really any other avenue we could research or pursue. Is
I mean,
that
to
what
give you
I'm
an idea,
hearing?
we actually killed it a day earlier than we expected just because of that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we have those things in place, and
Okay.
we didn't anticipate the wind shifting, but it's just, yeah. So,
Okay.
but we can absolutely bring that all back to you. Kind of give you an idea. Ogden, for instance, it's, the residents will be upset, but like Ogden, it is a fee on their bill, and no matter if you're a house, apartment, a townhome, everybody gets the same fee if you use the green waste or not.
How much is that fee?
It's $17.
To drop something off.
No, on your.
It's just
Utility bill.
Yeah,
And
it's
utility
on your
bill?
utility bill.
That's
Every
how they
month.
pay for their equipment and their
Right. I mean, and
expenses.
they're closed, what, 3 months of the year, and you still get it on your, it's part of your utility
I
bill.
believe it's more if it's commercial too, because I think on my.
You might be
office,
right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
my utility is more because it's commercial
Mm.
for my office.
So, I mean, yeah, but we'll bring all those, we can bring all that to you, and what it would cost to chip compared to chip, and to get it to a stage like Councilman Pulver said, where we can actually resell that stuff, because that's even an extra step, and there's a bunch of stuff that you'd have to do to resell and all that. But we can. That's not a problem.
I loved how I don't remember if it was Bowen or someone had put together this video that they put on the website explaining something with roads. Does anybody remember
The
this
traffic
video?
utility fee.
Was that what it was for? Okay, the tough video. I would love it if we had some kind of video like that posted all the time on the website, because then we can direct people who have questions. And, for them, they're thinking of all the ideas. Well, can't we just do this, and can't we just do that? And not realizing that staff has analyzed all those things, and, taken into account the financial obligation and all that. So I think answers really provide or dispel some fear.
And just one last thing on the burn, and this is from my perspective, the city actually burns it when we are told by the DEQ, so the air quality of when it's a good time to burn, and it changes daily. Like you look at even yesterday, for example, Farmington did their big burn out west, and we were getting ash up here
I
because the wind shifted and they didn't know that the winds were I mean, we can only predict so much into the future. Weather shifts all the time. It's hard to predict what's going to happen with weather patterns.
Yeah.
We try to do the best we can. This year was bad. We got hit
Yeah.
by a low pressure that came in that we weren't expecting. We wish we could have predicted better, but usually you want to have the high index, because then it goes away and you don't smell that smoke. But we do feel bad I mean, I smelled it at my house, and I'm one of the weird people that I do like the smell of smoke. Sorry, but I like wood smoke, not other nasty smoke.
I like it around the campfire.
Yeah.
But when I'm done, I don't want it the next morning.
Yep.
Okay.
The one last thing I have is just an update on the development agreement with the Matlocks. They've already paid their $5,000+ to Green Acres for not the Matlocks, the Randalls, for the playground, and so that part's already done. And Green Acres has met their full amount needed, and they're getting their playground. It'll be installed by the fall.
Nice.
Yep.
Awesome.
They reached
Cool.
out ahead of time, and the
Very cool.
Randall developers were nice and helped them out. So
Very cool.
any other updates for the council tonight? Not be looking for a motion to adjourn.